Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. D. Eric Body Beats. It's a vibe. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, it's the CARESNONE Beat Up Podcast. I am your host, Chris CARESNONE, and I got a special guest in the house today, Scott Horwitch, everybody. Scott Horwitch, how you doing, man?
Fanfare. I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you on for a little bit, man. I'm glad we finally made it work.
Me too.
There's a few reasons I wanted to get you on. One, because I've always liked you.
That's a good sign. I'm on the right side of the checklist, right?
I would argue that I was a pretty well-known, likable guy in all of high school.
You were, man. You were a homecoming king. You still got
prom. That was
prom
one I beat you in. Remember?
No,
No, but the reason I'm saying that
is
is because you definitely. I always like, all right, Scott Horwitch is that nigga. You know what I'm saying? I always thought that.
Yeah, I was always genuine. I think, raised that way, and we're lucky that I think where we grew up, like
our area was definitely better than like most of the fun country. I bet.
I preach it to everybody, man. We had a diverse high school. We didn't have any there was no. Am I allowed to cuss? I can fucking swear.
What the fuck?
All right, good, man. While you hit the pipe.
Yeah, you kidding me?
That's great. Yeah, man. I'm just and I tell people that all the time. Like I feel so blessed where we grew up because we didn't have like bullies in high school. We had like we grew up in a really great fucking community, and it made both of us, and I think, the men we are today, without a doubt.
For sure. And I remember thinking like. So what was the first thing that clicked? I was like, oh, you know what? You started being very vocal about the movement, which I've had people on, and that's sometimes hard for some people.
Yeah. And
I would like to get your thoughts on that, on how hard was it to step up and say things that you believe about what's going on? Did you get any ridicule? Like what was going on with that?
I didn't actually I got some interesting responses from people, mostly positive. Actually, all positive. At the end of the day, we were just talking about where we grew up. I mean, it'd be ignorant for me to say like racism wasn't a thing. Of course it was. And when you take a step back, and you know what? Actually, I was thinking about what I was going to talk about coming on a little bit about this conversation, and it's funny. So an example, I'll keep names out of it, but when we were in high school, I was driving my mom's car with one of our buddies who I played baseball with, and we were smoking a blunt. And we got all of a sudden, I look in my rearview mirror, and there's a fucking cop there. I ended up taking the heat for it, and he let us go. And, it was one of those things I was like, interesting. Is that white privilege? Because could I have, God only knows, right? I mean, I was at 17, 18, whatever it was. And it's just one of those interesting things where it's like, man, that could have gone so wrong. And then you think about all the possibilities, and it's like, maybe, And for me, like, that was just one of those interesting moments where when people start talking about white privilege, and then you think about all those things, and all the different opportunities, it could have went a million different ways. But, to say that I haven't experienced, racism in my life,
like you've seen it, right?
Yeah. Would be a lot. I mean, listen.
Because I can't fathom you doing that at all. You was like one of the niggas.
No.
You even hooped like a nigga. Like, you hooped like us. You played. He's wearing some ones now, but like he's got a little nigga in him.
I got, the royal blues.
Yeah,
on, the ones
he walked in. I'm like, nice shoes, homie.
Yeah. It's just, and that's another thing too. It's in terms of supporting the movement or whatever the fuck is going on right now, which is crazy. Here's the long and short of it is racism. It's obviously prevalent, and we need to just understand that, and we need to be better. That's what we need. We need to be better, and it's a unity thing, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like that's what's important. Is everybody needs to just understand that. Now, whether it's you're supporting the Black Lives, the BLM movement or not, and what they stand for, or whatever,
or like the organization, you mean? All that trash,
all of that, or any organization out there. I mean, at the end of the day, be a fucking human.
Right. Right. You would think it'd be easy to just be a human.
Be fucking human. That's the other thing that I don't understand. I mean, it's funny. Like I said, where we grew up, it was diverse, and we didn't have like, it was just normal to me. I had culture shock when I went to University of Iowa, and I had culture shock when I was like the fuck are all the minorities at? Like,
Iowa seems like a place that wouldn't have a ton of anything but white motherfuckers.
it was, dude, it's all white people except for athletes,
like the athletes, yeah.
right? You know, except for the basically that was the long and short of it. And I remember like going to parties and being like, where's all the fucking culture at? You know, like
just a bunch of red cups.
Just a bunch of red cups, man. You know, and that's the funny thing. It's like, you know, and then obviously being 4 years there, and that was a little culture shock. And then, you know, coming home and like running bars and restaurants and nightclubs and whatnot. And, you know, when I ran one of the most popular nightclubs in Chicago, it was
the Underground, right?
The Underground, yeah. You know,
we gotta talk about some of those stories.
I
can only imagine. I can only imagine.
But you know, you have a dress code and you have this and you have that, and people are like, man, you guys are racist. And it's like, no, man. It was all about class at the end of the day, you know, like adding value. But like downstairs at the party, like you can't throw a good party without culture. You can't, man. It can't be all, you know, the same types of people, man. That's no fun.
Right.
You know, and it's just an odd thing to me because there's so many stories that you read about or that you hear about, and you're like, how the fuck did people get that way?
What do you mean, like how to get racist?
Racist? How the fuck? You know, but and then you start to reflect on your own like life experiences and where you grew up.
Yeah,
where
you've been
you're from.
exposed to like other people. That's why you
exactly. So that's why just even before we were kicking things off, I was like, I can't tell you how many times I've praised where we grew up and how we grew up, because racism, that's the interesting thing, is like to say that you don't see color is not true, man.
Yeah,
of course
stupid.
you see color. I wouldn't be wearing fucking Jordans if I didn't.
Right here.
My dad
The fire ass colors too. Yeah, you know
man.
me. I got a little. You understand,
man,
right?
we get it. You know, my dad raised me on like Al Green, James Brown, like, you know. I mean,
see, it makes sense now.
So
it makes sense now.
It's that's the thing that a lot of it comes down to is people grow up in these bubbles, or you know they're taught these different things, or you know, and it's just it's sad. But here's the thing: we recognize it, and we need to be better. And not only that, the leadership across the board, whether you're right or left, and I think most of us are finding ourselves pretty much in the middle. Like, we need fucking leadership across the board.
Yeah, just everywhere,
man. Right. And you know, I guess long story short, to answer your question, like I've got nothing but positivity from people, and I'm, you know, I don't have a big platform where I'm going to be that big of an influence.
Well, shit, you got a platform though.
True, and
like, come on, you got it big.
To that point, everybody nowadays has a platform,
right?
And for me, it comes back to do the right fucking thing, man. Like
it's almost like you owe it. Like I feel like I owe it.
Of course,
to be a good dude, I have to be.
I mean, be a good dude. I've always said, be a good dude, and you know, that's the mindset that you have to have. Be a good dude, and good things will happen. Be a good dude and surround yourself with good people, and that's it. And things seem so complicated and heavy right now, but I think it's really simple.
I always say that about life, man. Life isn't easy, but it's simple.
Yeah.
It ain't easy. You know, this shit's tough. You know, you got to deal with, you know.
You're getting older, man. We were just talking about it, too. Getting older.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a second. The drinking. So you said you had a couple drinks last night?
I had quite a few.
It got nice, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like I was telling you, so thank you for the delicious bottle of tequila you brought.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that I know it's kind of, maybe I should have stated that. But about 2.5 months ago, I just, you know, I was like, I went and got some blood work and my liver enzymes were a little high. And they were like, you know, hey.
Shit.
So that was like, all right.
Red flag.
Like, yeah. Like, why? And don't forget, I had already started sober November last year, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, right.
I saw like a YouTube video, and me and Steve and the buddies, I'm like, y'all want to do it with me for 1 month? Let's make sure we're not raging fucking alcoholics. And they were like, cool. So we did it, but with the intent that I'll be back day one, you know?
Right.
So I knew I could stop it, but I believe I can stop anything for a short amount of time.
Yep.
It's I don't really, because there's a lot of people that get the same news that I got, and not even that it was vicious, but it was just like, yeah, you might want to be aware of that, and they still don't stop, or change it up a little bit. Like some people don't, like they even get worse sometimes.
That type of thing I don't understand, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, we were just talking about it. Like, you know, I've been in the food and beverage, the bar, restaurant scene for a long time. I mean, you're around booze constantly. You know, I host people all the time. And like I was telling you, like in the next few years, it's dawned on me that I might quit drinking altogether, and because for no other reason than we're just. I mean, we can give it up. I could give it up. You know, I could give it up. I don't drink during the week now, which is funny. I have really great booze at my place, if you can imagine,
Right.
and I don't drink. You know, my girl at home, she loves to drink wine. I don't even drink wine.
Why do you think that you do drink when you do? Just because it's fun?
Great question. You know what's funny is that, you know, now I drink tequila on the rocks, where, you know, growing up, everybody goes through their whiskey phases or their beer phases. As I've gotten older, man, I just can't handle shit. My stomach can't handle it. I had to give up beer. I'll still enjoy a high life every now and then, but, you know, going to a ball game and shit, I just don't drink. But I had to switch to tequila because
Is it easiest on you?
it's easiest on me. But, and that's the other thing too, is like, when I drink, I sip tequila on the rocks, but I'm not a guy that's going to sit around and have like 15 cocktails. I'd rather drink 15 shots and just be done and get drunk and let's fucking hang out. You know, let's have a good time. I think for me, it's always been like the process.
And of course, I tell myself, do I want to keep this door open for that reason?
Yeah.
All right, it'll go away. My fault.
Those guys are working out there.
Yeah, they got to make their money. I knew it. Something told me it's going to happen. You know what? I'm going to close it.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us further. I can hear you.
So, but yeah, you know, I think, you know, for you, man, giving it up, you know, I don't know how long you think that you're going to last or what you want to do with taking the break or having to be permanent. But
You talking about me?
yeah, I think that's great. And you know what? Every year, you know, people do like Sober January and stuff like that. Every year I try to do
Something like that?
something like that. And like I said, I got a buddy who, he goes 2 months and he goes, no booze, no drugs, no fucking jerking off. Like he just complete cleanse. And that's an interesting, you know, I mean, I don't know, different strokes for different folks, but if I quit, I don't think I'd miss it.
I'm telling you right now, you will miss it, at least as far as I'm concerned, in certain situations. So the reason why I
Maybe
drank,
socially.
that's the first one.
Right.
And for me, what it was is, and for the people who've already heard this, my bad, but I got a new guest on. I'm going to tell them the story. So what happened with me is I started to realize it wasn't the alcohol that was what I was addicted to. It was how it was making me feel as opposed to a mask. So mind you, I'm an extroverted person, but when I'm drunk, I'm over the top extroverted. And I'm literally, just like you probably, we get drunk. I'm telling you, me and you get drunk, we're the life of whatever fuck we're at.
Right.
And the booze helps you get there way quicker.
Of course.
You know? So at first, that's the thing. I'm like, okay, but I started putting myself in situations that I would normally be fucked up in and just getting used to it. And it had to get that callous. Okay, like it's okay to be Chris Campbell. Like I don't need, and for me personally, I needed that shit.
Right.
And that's a problem.
That's good, man. I mean, listen.
Still smoke though.
Yeah, I'll never give that up either, my man.
That shit's too good.
I mean, just especially the current state of affairs. But you know, if it's one of those things, Booze, where if you start thinking that, it's funny that it dawned on you maybe that it became such like a dependent. You know, that's
For sure.
That's interesting.
For sure.
I don't know if it is for me, but definitely in certain social situations.
Yeah, especially when see, that's the thing about booze. Not to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
But everyone, like it's so socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Like they're drinking at church and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's the one that's readily there. I can go walk across the street, get it.
Yep.
And you know they have the little rules and shit to maybe not do certain things like get in the car. But at the end of the day, I can sit here and just drink a lot of it.
Right.
And I could argue it might be the worst of all the drugs, all of them. And because it's readily available, as opposed to like heroin, where you can't just go to Walmart and get some heroin.
Well, think about cigarettes, man.
Oh, that's up there too, though.
I mean,
that's up there too.
You know, every now and again, it depends on who I'm with. Like when I hang out with the boys from home that we grew up with in Wheeling, you know.
You got to tell me how they're doing after this too.
I'm going golfing with them tomorrow. I can't wait. I mean, you know, life happens. But everybody's good. But, you know, I'll have a cigarette with them. Or sometimes with my boys at home, I'll have a cigarette. But cigarette, the connotation now around smoking, even this fucking Juul, these pods and shit, it's gross, man. It's just gross.
Especially when you think about it.
You know, and I mean, in college, I drank a shit ton. I smoked cigarettes, whatever. And then it actually took getting into the food and beverage industry when I put a suit on. And, you know, and they banned smoking indoors, right, which was the best fucking thing because you leave a bar and you just stink.
Yeah, reek.
You know, half the time, you know, you might have to throw your fucking clothes out. It was disgusting. And so when they changed that was a good thing.
Wait. It was that. It's gotten that bad. You have to throw shit away.
I mean, think about it. You know, if I'm bartending,
Oh, that's a good point. If you work,
like,
at work.
Smell
You're
awful.
right. Good point.
But the other thing was when I would, I'd put a suit on and I'd be talking to these people and I'd be hosting and introducing myself. There's nothing that smells worse than fucking cigarettes on somebody's breath or someone that smells like an ashtray. So I'm like, all right, that was enough. And how I quit was I ended up started chewing gum, and then I went to like Big Red gum, which had its own fucking connotation. People are like, yo, man, what's that? What Fireball? That's awful cinnamon fucking whiskey. People are like, dude, are you just drinking Fireball all day? I'm like, no, man, I'm fucking eating big. I called it Big Fred. I'm having, it's just fucking gum. But it's one of those things where it's like, it couldn't be any worse than fucking cigarettes. But you go through these phases, and for me, I'm at that point, and you're ahead of the game where I could give it up if I don't know if it's chewing gum or drinking. I know a lot of people like drink soda water instead or whatever. I got a buddy who's been sober for 2-3 years and he just drinks ginger ale, and he was a fucking animal. And at all our when we hang out, when we all get together, and we drink beers.
He still has a great time though, right?
Great time.
That's what I had to get used to too.
And he's even better. But we'll bring him a fucking 6-pack of ginger ale.
Oh, so you're thinking about it, right?
And because we get it, and that's cool, and people will accept it, man. And that's the other thing too. I think with booze, if you're just like, oh man, I don't drink. No, 99 times out of 100, people are like, cool, I got LaCroix, or I got this, or I got that, or I got and you could still hang out and have a good time, especially if you smoke.
I'll tell you this, that was one of the biggest things too. Is am I going to be as received as I was, because I was always drunk, so people know me as Drunk Chris, which and sometimes it's been bad, but 99% of the times, Drunk Chris is fun as shit. I've had my moments. I'm sure we all have. Acting like a cop. We call it Bahama eyes, because when I was in the Bahamas, I got really fucked up, and that's how I know. But as far as once I realized that you could still have fun, it wasn't as fun those first few times. So it's going to be definitely an adjustment period to being with all your boys.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this: it's not nearly as fucked up as you think. When you, like you said, when you say, yeah, man, like I went out, I'm like, I ain't drinking. They look at you like, really? Oh, it's almost like a congratulations.
Yeah.
Almost. It's almost like we all want to stop to some degree. You save a fuck ton of money,
Yeah.
especially if you're out here buying drinks for girls and shit, which I personally do not. But if you do, I refuse to do that shit.
That's funny, man.
Yeah, I refuse to do that shit. Which is funny because my roommate, he'll spend his whole goddamn check on drinks for girls.
God bless, man.
Oh, I can't.
God, I love him. I haven't seen him in so long.
Oh, yeah, he's a wild animal, brother. He's a wild animal.
Man, I love him.
Yeah, but that was the first thing I noticed. Is like, well, not the first thing, but once a couple times, and like being around women was a big one too. Because I had to get into the zone. I've got to get in my move, but I can
take the edge off. I get that.
But, right, they call it liquid courage.
Right. For a reason.
And if you pop, like if I'm really got courage, you can't tell me shit. You can't tell me shit sober.
CARESNONE, man.
Right. That's literally the whole thing. But it gets easy, and now you get the benefits. My body feels different now. You know how this morning when I saw you, you were like, man, I'm hungry. I got that. You had that cloudy, right?
Dragging ass, man.
Yeah, that cloudy. I don't get
old.
that. We don't do that.
Yeah, that's true. I
can get turned weed, wake up perfect.
Right. That's the biggest thing, is waking up the next day and feeling good. Because everybody knows, and I like when hangovers at 30, they just hit different. And
Way
then
different.
It's all fucking downhill after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, like I said, I quit fucking drinking beer. I quit drinking dark liquor. Now I got to only drink tequila. And even then,
You'll be White Claw soon.
Hey, listen, I enjoy White Claw every now and then. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, like you were saying, man, I bet you feel like $1 million fucking dollars, and you look great.
Thank you, brother, man.
You look great.
Yeah, I guess you've seen me since I made some transformations, but I was a big boy back in the day. I didn't. And you don't realize. Like I knew I was a big dude, but you don't realize it until you lose that. You're like, oh shit, I was a big dude.
What was your biggest?
That I've recorded was 417.
No shit.
417.
400.
Brick house.
Like a brick.
Yeah, no, I was pushing 400, and that I might have lost 5 pounds today. So I don't know. But when I checked, I'll never forget. Stop hopping on the scale, and I had to get in a special one at the place.
That's messed up. You need a special scale.
I thought it was fucked up. It was like for elephants or something.
Fuck out of here. You guys got a rhinoceros.
Yeah. I had to crawl onto the goddamn scale. Yeah, man, but made a change, and I'll be honest, it was because of women initially.
Really?
I'm like, dude, I'm way too liked, way too dope. People fuck with me. Just surrounded by women all the time. Friend zone to shit out of all of them.
And you think
Well, I think there's a percentage of it. Obviously, people want to be around attractive people. People at least they find at least attractive enough. But I think way more important than that is just I'm confident now.
Yeah.
I was talking about that last night. Confidence is.
I'm telling you, man. And that's, going out there, being a fucking young kid, talking to women, like, you can, if you can turn back time, confidence is everything.
100%.
Women don't, you see gorgeous women out there with dudes. You're like, this guy's a fucking clown shoe. Look at this fucking guy. And I bet you, he's probably just fucking sky high confidence through the
Or
he's got a big fucking schwanz. Other than that,
or unless he could be popping in his pockets.
Yeah.
So
always.
that's one thing.
Oh, always. But if you remove all that, confidence is fucking everything. In life,
everything, not even just women.
1,000%.
Friendship, just when you walk down the street, how you walk.
Business, confidence in how you conduct yourself.
Yeah. So tell me about like what is the difference? So I haven't been in too many of those like general managing, leading roles, like shit like that, where you really taking care of some big shit.
Yeah.
When it comes to the confidence, did you always have confidence to you? Like when did you believe that? Okay, this is what it is.
I got. You know what? Everything leads up. I think everything is connected, right? And how you grow up and what you do, and the confidence for me was always with it comes back to like sports. Like I literally, when I would get ready for work, it was like lay my clothes out like I would lay out a uniform. When I'd put my earpiece in, it was like putting on a jersey. It was like, it's time to go. It's go time. Be prepared. Be prepped. That's what sports did. And that allowed me to be confident running a nightclub. But at the end of the day, the other part of it was experience. I had worked at every single position in that.
So you worked your way up to that shit.
Of course, man. I started as a fucking busboy. I started as a.
That's a great fucking story.
As a barback, and I got hired at Underground as the service bartender, and then I worked my way up and ended up becoming the GM for.
How long did
5
it take to make that work up when you got to Underground?
Well, from 2 years, 2.5, 3 years. When I wanted to take that step from being, like a bartender or whatever into management, which I don't ever do. Anybody out there, I'm gonna get real close to the microphone. Don't ever do that. Take your cash money as a bartender. But anyway, you can learn a shit ton in management. But anyway, that's when I was when I wanted to take that next step, I was like, okay, what's the key? Prepared. Just be prepared. And then you're gonna, that's the other thing too. You're gonna fucking fail.
That's a huge one. Actually, and people are so scared of that.
It's like, that's the thing. You know what? I tell people too, and where we grew up, like, we grew up scrappy. We grew up in neighborhoods. We got into fist fights. You don't know how tough you are until you.
Wait. How many fist fights have you gotten into?
I work at bars, man. I'm
talking about growing up.
A fucking shit ton.
Really?
Shit, I grew up in the Lakeside Villas, man.
I guess
right by Tahoe, Malibu,
okay.
on the other side of Wheeling.
Were you fighting during high school?
Not really.
Okay, that was okay. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
but
that's you fight in high school.
Nobody fought in high school. Nobody got in fist fights in high school.
Maybe
a couple of tips here and there, but like we didn't have like bullies or like after school fights.
No,
I mean,
never had that. I used to give motherfuckers the one hitter quitters. Don't forget, I was 400.
Yeah, man.
Not too many people were fucking with me back then. You had to have some real balls to fuck with me when I'm 400.
Yo,
like whoa,
for real. But you don't. My point is like you don't know how tough you are until you got your ass beat. That's the thing, man. You can tell the motherfuckers in a fight or when shit hits the fan who've gotten their ass beat and who hasn't, because you know how tough you are when you've taken a fucking punch. And that also applies to just everything else, and that applies to your confidence, man. Like I've hit some people fucking hard. I've knocked some people out, and I've gotten the shit beat out of me, and I'm equally
makes you tougher.
As tough, yeah. Like
one, because you felt it. You're like, oh, okay, I know what it feels like. So now I'm aware.
But you can size somebody up and be like, it's all. And you know what it is, dude? If I had to pick a fight between you at 400 or a 6 foot fucking 140-pound lanky motherfucker, I'd take you over those lanky motherfuckers with the reach, man. It's a pop.
Right.
Pop. You're like, oh shit.
When I was 400, I think I obviously had more strength than the average person, but I think it was going to take a lot to knock me down.
Right.
And I've always said, you put me in a bathroom with a lot of motherfuckers, I'm probably going to be good, especially at 400. You get me in a room, and then motherfucker got the,
quarters, right.
Oh, okay, this motherfucker can get me. I've lost some fights. Or I've definitely tied some, for sure. I've definitely, I wouldn't say necessarily lost. The ones I'm like, he got me. Remember Tony Machika?
Fuck yeah, man.
Me and him had a good one.
Yo,
Those were my better ones.
remember how good of an athlete Tony Machiko was? I thought that motherfucker. I remember in junior high playing, London Holmes. I'm like, that motherfucker, man.
Yeah, he used to go.
He used to go.
He used to fucking go. Would you say he's, out of the people that we in high school, who was the best athlete as far as just physically a beast?
Man, that's a good fucking question. You know what else is fucked up about this question too? And thinking about our high school, we had so many really great athletes that didn't play sports.
Oh, okay.
Think about it. Think about you, man.
Well, the one that they wanted me to play, I just didn't like it back then.
I mean, how did you not make? I mean, I just
basketball. I
don't
listen.
get it.
And
We had
remember
so many
Rappaport?
good
Remember Rappaport? His dad was like one of the guys.
Mr.
Rappaport. Right. I'll never forget this. I told him, and he knew I played ball with you guys, and he was like, I'm like, man, I was a little hurt, because I literally played ball with all these fools. Half the fools starting, I played with them for years.
Right.
But I was the big guy. But he was like, well, then he goes, that doesn't make any sense. He goes, you just work with him, help him lose weight. You know what Lou Will said to me? You obviously heard this. I'll never forget this. Remember how he made us sit down and then like rail off the reasons. He would like try to give you some love before cutting you.
Yeah, he was a great man, though. He is a great man. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but Lou Will. Anyway.
No, I would argue that what he was trying to do was the right thing. It was brutal. Yeah. He had like 8 motherfuckers there crying. I was crying. Remember Bryce McKinney?
Dude, in junior high, Bryce McKinney might have been one of the best basketball players I ever saw. That's the thing, man. People peak early, but we won't name any names.
Yeah, they're peaking early.
We won't get into that.
So, and then he goes, I'll never get this. So he goes, so this next guy, what can I tell you? Mind you, all of our buddies we're all in there.
Yeah, right.
He goes, by far, this is what he said, verbatim, by far the best inside game in the gym. This guy, Chris Campbell, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Just say.
Dude, on the block, man. That's true. It was
and I
facts.
used to pass the rock, and I still pass the rock. And I used to set all these motherfuckers. So I played a lot of ball with Marcus, Mike, these guys who played, Goo and all them. And I'm telling you, they used to give.
You know what? He might have been one of the best athletes.
I was about to throw his name out there.
I didn't even. He didn't. That for whatever
Just
reason. I don't
as
know
a
why
freak.
There would be games. He'd pop off for like 35, and then he wouldn't touch 10 for 15 games.
What do you think that is?
Confidence. I don't know.
Oh, you saying he wouldn't? I remember that he would like hit 2 threes and they'd sit him.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like he wasn't
He
fitting in the
jumped
system.
out of the gym.
That
man.
boy could get up. That boy could get up. Yeah, but I remember thinking he might be the best like pure athlete at the time. They had him playing the 5 though. That's brutal.
That's the other thing that I can't believe. We needed big men, especially in the paint. I mean, listen, Swati's he's like my favorite person on the fucking planet. He was our starting center. He's 6'2".
But he was still one of the taller guys on the team.
Exactly.
Right,
and
right,
he
right.
was, and obviously Swati was a great athlete too.
Yeah, he was a good athlete.
Yeah, I mean, he was real good.
How the fuck is he doing, man? I mean,
He's
all
good,
those
man.
motherfuckers.
He's got 3 kids. He's teaching at Niles North. He's got a side hustle in real estate. He's
killing it.
He's got a beautiful Jenna Bell. You know Jenna Bell from Hershey?
No, I didn't kick it too much for Hershey like y'all did.
I mean, it was girls, man. You know.
Again, I was late to that party.
Us
I was so late to that party, man. I'm a late bloomer in everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
The other thing though too is you went to Holmes. Holmes didn't split. Like I went to London. London split between BG and Wheeling, and so that was like the beginning of like, and then and then house parties and shit, and then sports and that shit. But yeah, I mean, but anyway, Swati is the best fucking human on the planet.
Oh,
and he's doing really well. Everybody's married with kids, doing well or about to get married with kids.
You close to how you looking with that? I don't know. Maybe am I going too much? Am I toe in the waters?
No, man. I mean, listen.
You feel like you barely talk.
Yeah, because I'm trying to.
I got you.
Find the right words. But here's the thing, man. I've had my fun, and
it was fun, wasn't it?
It was real fun, man. But at the end of the day, I have an amazing woman in my life, and I'd be fucking stupid to fuck it up, So that's what I'll tell you. But
I'm enjoying life right now.
As you should, man. You look good. You feel good. You got, it's a fucking great apartment. You quit drinking. You got this good energy. Like,
hey, man, good vibes only. Remember the good vibes only movement I was doing for a while? GVO. It's still a thing.
We need it. We need it more now. That's what we need.
Maybe we should bring it back a little bit. I still try to live that way, just in general.
Yeah. No, listen, man. Like, you give off that really good energy, that real good,
Thank
you know,
you, man.
and people gravitate towards that, you know, especially now more than ever. And that maybe, you know, so ride the wave, man. Go out and chase. What did I drive by when I was coming in? The Bavarian line. Hit up the Bavarian line.
Oh, yeah. It's right down the street, the Bavarian. Go ahead and give me some Polishes and stuff. They got like all kind of sausages and shit there.
Hey, let me tell you something. I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but, you know, Eastern European women, man, you know, you can have some fun at Bavarian Lodge, I bet. You know?
Really? Bavarian Lodge? I would never.
I don't know. I just
It's just a thing you've heard.
I don't know. I don't have no idea. But
I have heard that women, actually, I don't know this personally as much, but I've read this, like, women outside of America are way different than American women.
I mean, that's another thing. I don't know if you traveled much, but
I travel a little bit.
Outside of the U.S., I mean, I lived in Spain for like 6 months.
Look
in
at
my
you went to
mid-20s.
Spain?
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. I mean,
How dope was that? Was that way?
It was,
when you talking about real fun.
It was the best. Literally, it was the greatest thing I ever did.
Oh, so dope.
But I mean, I'll tell you this much, though. When I was there, like, depending on what country you're in or where you're at, like, people don't really like Americans, man. It's
no, not at all.
We think everybody likes us.
Yeah, we think
or
we're so
whatever.
brainwashed.
You go out there and people are like, this fucking idiot.
Yeah, fucking, especially if you're like a bro type, like they'll really get
Look
you.
at me, man.
Yeah, they
Look
probably
at
get you.
6'1" white kid with, you know.
And you're probably drunk out of your mind.
Oh, dude, I mean, you know, loud, obnoxious. It was silly, but it was an amazing time, and you know, that was also keep coming back to confidence. That was a big confidence builder because going out there, it's like I'd never traveled before.
Why'd you go just for the hell of it? School thing? Like, what was it?
I was just graduated from Iowa, and I was like, I don't know. You know, it's funny because you have all these jumping off points growing up, like junior high to high school to college. What am I going to study in college? After college, like I get a job or whatever it is that you do. I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. So I'm like, I should travel. And everybody's always like, travel. So I'm like, where's the furthest place I can go where I know the least amount of people, but at least one person? So it wouldn't just be going like solo. And
who the fuck did you know?
I knew Liz Wade. I don't know if she went to her
yeah, okay, yeah.
And
is she a doctor now? Or something like that? I keep seeing her post.
She has an amazing career.
Seems like she's killing it.
She has an amazing career. She's got an amazing little boy. And
I like her. She's pretty strong. Like, first of all, she seems transparent from what I'm reading, and it seems like she's just I'm gonna fight for what I believe in, and personally, because I know how hard it is for a lot of people to do.
Yeah,
I always respect that more than anything else.
She's an amazing human, and she's in an interesting field, and she's successful, very successful, and it makes sense why Liz is successful. She's like super intelligent, and she's great with people, and she's genuine. That's what, and she's always been that way, and she's very, you know, even talking about it, she's just very near and dear to my heart. But it was so amazing that
would have been huge.
She's like, come to Spain. What are you doing? What do you got?
How long did she live out there?
She was teaching English out there.
Oh, she was living.
And randomly, you know who? And she was living with Justin Doshi and like a couple other people.
What?
I know, Dosh, who's the fucking best. And you know,
I haven't seen him. How's he doing?
Is
he part of this? Can we talk about the 70s night in a minute? Because I've been dying to like hit up one of y'all about that. It's so dope.
How
many years strong? First of all, explain to the people who don't know what that 70s night thing.
So every year, it goes back to, I think maybe we were 19, so it goes back 17 years maybe. Swati, myself, Jason Weeder, at the time it was like Nick Eggert, maybe some other guys. The Cubs used to do theme nights, and one of them was 70s night. And for whatever reason, we like decided to go and get all dressed up and be fucking goofballs.
Right.
And nothing else going on when we were 17, 18, 19, you know, fucking smoking weed and chasing
tail. Yeah, chase tail.
And so we went, and we just had a blast. It was like one of the best nights ever. And we just started to every year do it. And after like, I think it was like 4 or 5 years, for whatever reason, the Cubs stopped doing the 70s theme night. I think they had other theme nights going on, and we're like, fuck it. We got to go strong. And every year it would grow and grow.
What was the biggest one?
50 people.
Shut up.
In the fucking right field bleachers with signs, everybody dolled up.
It was, you get the pictures were phenomenal. Like, look at these motherfuckers killing it.
Because we would post pictures, and you know,
how can I get in on that?
Everybody's like, what is this? And we're like, come. And we would send the dates out, like invites, Facebook invites, and we're just like, you know, everybody's invited. You just gotta we pregame. You just gotta dress up. I mean, fucking everybody was coming out. I mean, we even got
Where do you go to get 70s shit? Like, you guys would always be decked out too. Like, you fucking straight out the 70s.
thrift stores, man. You know,
That's the way to do it,
I mean,
huh?
at the point now, you know how you 30s are. You know, you act like you're in your 20s, but you got a little more money in your pocket. So now you just go on.
You can go find
You
it.
go on eBay and you spend money like I'm gonna get a
Good point, good
3-piece
point.
fucking polyester suit. Like
I'm like, you guys are getting. I'm like, wait a minute, these
But we
motherfuckers
were-
really in the 70s.
we were, dude. I would grow a beard
I saw that. Yep.
for a month just to shave it to have a proper fucking mustache for
dope.
the 70s night. But you know, like, and that was something that kept all of us together. You know, like life happens, right? Especially as you get older. But you know, our boys from home back from when, like, that's what kept us all together. And everybody, you know, had girlfriends and now wives and you know, brother-in-laws and then it just grew into this thing, and it was the best thing ever. And we would make fucking signs, and we get on TV every year.
Every year.
And that for us, that was like the justification. It was like, yo, we go out there, we get loose, and we, you know, we're gonna get on TV, and that's what it was all about. Was just like,
Do you think it's changed over? Like, what are the dynamics that have changed over the year, other than just everyone's getting nicer look with it as far as how they look? But have you noticed what was different about the beginning towards the end? Like people getting older. Like, was it better then, better now? I don't know. Just
I mean, it's more difficult now to get people together because people got families.
It's life,
and
yeah.
people got to get, you know, babysitters and whatnot. But
it's still a thing, right? I mean, I
still
know.
a thing, man. We would every fucking year. And this year, like, we thought about, you know, they opened up the rooftops. We thought about doing like a rooftop thing and getting together, but you know,
We gonna let this year pass, maybe.
But 2021, man. And I would love nothing more than to have you come on a 70s.
I'm 100% there, 100%. As long as I'm alive, yeah, 100%.
It's everybody that you'd want to.
And I'll get some more niggas there too, so
Fuck yeah,
we'll make
dude.
it big. It's
Bring
fun.
it.
Let's do it.
I mean, there were years, you know, where we had, you know, my little brother, he's 3 years younger than me.
Who's also a beast, mind you. Shout out.
Yeah, Danny Horwitch. God fucking bless you. I love you. He's my best friend, always has been. And, you know, it's funny because, like I said, when we were talking about where we grew up, like, so when I was I'm lucky because my sister's 3 years older, my brother's 3 years younger, so I got to go to high school with both of them. As a freshman, my sister was a senior. As a senior, my brother was a freshman. And
Perfect.
it was perfect for me.
Perfect case
But as you
scenario.
get older, age isn't so much of a thing anymore. So you start, and my sister has her friends I'm friends with, right? My little brother, all those fucking dudes. Stone.
Which made it like even bigger of a group.
I mean,
yeah.
Danny Stone and Gabe Soto and Kyle and the Chilvers also. You know, Bobby and Brian, like, it became a family affair.
You know, I never met the younger one.
Brian, you never met Brian?
No.
He's great. You love him.
I know Big Shover, like, he likes my he watches my Snapchat, my Instagram shit a little bit. He's kind of dope. But I've seen none of those guys in forever.
Dude, that's, you know
I
what?
used to kick it with y'all every now and again. Remember, I used to sprinkle the token guy in there every now and again. I used to come and hang out.
You know,
I used to love you, but I feel like I probably hung out with y'all more than, especially maybe towards high school as it got to senior year, maybe. But I was kind of floating.
Yeah, you know what I always loved about you, and as you get older, you can see it is, like I said, man, your energy. You weren't, you couldn't pin you down, man. You were friends with everybody, which was good. You had,
I really thought that, man. I tried to do that, man. I liked everybody.
and you know what? I think where we grew up, everybody was like that. We didn't have, I mean, everything's kind of cliquey, but like as you grow older, you know, like when you think about it, like everybody's like, think about this. In college, my freshman roommate was Alex Suha. You couldn't pick two guys further from like the traditional stereotypical spectrum. You know, he was like the theater guy. And,
right.
You know, and
Super different.
you know what? And I've
You know what? I almost thought you said Alex Washington for a second.
A-Dub, who's I think he's coaching college ball now.
Overseas, right?
Also,
or August.
Also, one of the better athletes I've ever seen.
That fool could hoop. I used to love how silky,
smooth,
silky.
He was
like some silk panties. That motherfucker was smooth.
He was. You know what he was? He was like slow and smooth, but smooth is fast. He was almost like a Paul Pierce smooth, where you like
for sure.
You're almost like, this motherfucker's in slow motion, but he's
doing what he wants.
He just dropped a quiet 21. Like he could hoop. And you know, basketball, especially wheeling basketball, in my opinion, was always the most fun, and always had, you know, maybe it was just because of the gym and the crowd and whatever we had. And we always
listen, as one of the ring leaders of that shit,
Oh, yo,
Bro,
we had great energy.
The
man.
crowds were dope.
I mean, I wouldn't trade any of that for anything. But
Like getting buzzer beaters and shit.
my
Wilson
God.
hit up. I remember he'll hit one.
Yo.
Marcus hit one. I remember going nuts.
Mike Wilson had one of the best jump shots I can remember, maybe all time.
It was kind of Reggie Miller-esque, right?
Very.
He had a little awkward, but he used to hit that bitch.
So he's one of those motherfuckers that just shot up like 7 inches in a day, and he was
Yeah,
just
he was like
lanky.
8'10".
Yeah, and he just, but he would, he could shoot, man.
He could shoot his ass off.
His mom Karen just passed away. An amazing woman.
Oh no,
I got great memories of her. Yeah, but yeah, Mike Wilson, he could shoot. I mean, when you think about how our sports teams, we should have been good, and we were just never good at anything.
what do you think it was? You think motherfuckers weren't taking it serious to be great?
Part of it was, this isn't a huge knock, but we didn't have. I mean, we had some great coaches, but we didn't have great coaching. We just didn't. They didn't invest in that in our high school. And I think, if you fucking sneezed wrong, you got a co-curricular code violation. Pedro Banuelos,
that motherfucker could
might
hoop.
be one of the best athletes. And they just also actually, you know who the best athlete was growing up? The best athlete I've ever been around.
Like physical, just athlete specimen.
Stupid athlete. Should still, even now, today, could still be playing 10 in the NFL. Corey Brennan.
Oh,
Corey Brennan.
That's
At every sport.
And he was big, too.
Dude, 6'3", fast, dunking on people. Oh, and Ray Grady. Ray Grady
was a hooper.
God, we
for
just
sure.
Ray Grady.
But he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was.
Ray Grady played running back.
You know what? He was a good athlete.
No, he was, and Ray worked with me at the Underground, which I'm so thankful for.
That might have been one of the last times I saw you. I think because you were
Maybe.
working the club, and we were going there. And I was trying to get a hold of you, whatever. And then Ray was working the front, and I was like, "Oh shit!" He goes, "Yeah," and he was all good.
Always, man. And I always told
Such
Ray,
a stand-up dude. He loved porn. Loves porn.
Yeah, I think he probably. I mean, I hope he didn't give it up.
No, I mean like loves porn. Like same thing with Mike. My roommate loves porn, bro.
I mean, people are passionate about porn.
Listen,
man. I'm not mad about it.
Remember when you not to get off subject, but earlier you mentioned your buddy has stopped masturbating?
Yeah, he goes on that whatever that
no
cleanse.
fap. That's what it's called. No fap. Yeah. I did that, and I'm telling you, it's a thing.
Yeah. Wait, I think it's actually is it No Nut November? I think that's
well, that's if you're doing it for no. But the whole idea, there's a whole community of people, and it's called no fapping.
Shit.
And I'm telling you, it's a thing.
Cheers to the no fappers out there.
I'm sure. Wait, I'm sure. Right. Has he ever tried to
do it? But
I'm gonna tell you why it works. Let me tell you why it works. So if you went down my YouTube, like, I'm a big YouTube guy, and they give you suggested. You can tell a lot about who a person is by the YouTube,
of course,
suggested. So a lot of my shit is self-development. Like about half of it is just how to improve things. Try this. This will improve your life.
Yeah, love that.
So I'm swiping, and one of these dudes like how I stopped masturbating and and how it changed my life. I'm like, what? Like ever since Weeder and John Huminski told me about beating off, they were the ones that introduced it to my world.
Jason Weeder, who is still one of my best friends, and I love him. That motherfucker, he was like, when he was born, he was already through puberty, man. Remember him? He might have been the earliest motherfucker, the earliest that I can remember, man, who had like, armpit hair and facial hair.
Yeah, he was hairy.
He was
in like 3rd grade.
Yeah, so that makes sense that he told you about fucking Jay Owen. That's funny, man.
Yeah, he definitely. And I remember it was John Huminski too, and I'll never forget it. They were like, bro,
Huminski could hoop back in the day.
He was definitely a solid hooper. One of those smooth
the
motherfuckers.
Huminskis.
He used to pull though. Yeah. That was his own. Like he used to pull almost too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but he could score though. That was the problem.
Nobody, and I don't know if you still talk. Nobody pulled more than Marcus Lee.
Oh, he still does.
Like I bet now he's just pulling right over half court.
But what he could do is shoot.
He could hoop,
which is crazy because I remember when he first got out there, he was like he used to slash.
Oh, he was.
And he kept getting all those fucking charge calls. Remember that? He was always
so quick.
But then finally he said, "Fuck it." He started working in the gym, and then the motherfucker got a burner.
Did he play? Did he play college ball?
I do believe he played a little college ball. I don't think nothing,
Right.
He didn't go to Iowa, no shit, but he played. He fought, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he should have if he didn't. I mean, listen, we had great athletes come up where we were at. Anyway, not to get off topic. So you tried this no fap?
So the guy was like, I'm telling you guys, and the first thing he said that caught my attention was, I don't know what it is, but then you get like weird energy from females. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, all right. So then I watched a couple more, and it was like a thing. Like, I'm telling you, life changing. I'm on 150 days. I'm on 500 days. I'm like, what? I can't even think of going more at the time. When I got a little older, I almost beat off to go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, it's time to go to sleep. Let me bust one. And then once it came so readily available on our phone, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I can't. These kids, these kids don't even know like
how good they got it.
They got it. So
the VCR. Did you have a VCR situation?
you know what? Actually, this is the funny thing. So when my dad died when I was a kid, he died like right before I turned 9. I inherited all his Playboys, and
Would they have like a fuck ton? Was it a lot?
I mean, it was. I think it was probably like 100, 200, whatever. But I'm like 9 years old, and I was kind of a late bloomer anyway. But I got to tell you, man, that was my first, soiree into the whole fucking porn.
And you got a good swift. That's a big chunk.
I mean, listen, this shit was this was 80s. My dad died in like 92 or 93, so this was like a ton of like 80s Playboys. So this just fucking muff. It's just all fucking muff in these old school Playboys, and I think about it, man. I'm fucking 9, 10 years old. I was blessed. I had 100 Playboys.
I never liked the magazines, man. I always wanted the real. Let me see something.
Well, you had to wait as a kid, and then we had to wait fucking 25 minutes with a rock hard boner for fucking dial-up.
right. Oh yeah.
And then you try to print off a picture and shit.
Yeah, shit was terrible.
Nah, man. So I leaned on those Playboys for a long time, and now like we're saying, these kids, man, they get in 5 seconds you got anything you want.
Some people less than. They just keep it on their phone. They just open the phone porn in the background.
A porn app probably. I mean, that's crazy.
I think Pornhub has an app.
I bet, man.
I mean, that's the go-to. Is that the gold standard?
It's got to be.
If Pornhub's got to be the gold standard.
Listen, if it's not,
I think there's some other good ones.
If it's not, it's in your fucking.
It's in your. I want to know the answer. Let's see what the top 5 porn sites. It's got to
be. You know what? If it's not, it's in your. It's in your.
I'm going number
wheelhouse.
1. It's the one that's the most everyone knows. We all know that little sound in the beginning.
Doom.
Yeah,
little drum solo. Yeah, man. Listen, if you don't know the Pornhub drum solo, you don't fucking.
Let me see what they say. What are the top 5 pornography websites?
These are the top results.
All right. So I just got to read them. All right. The most popularly visited. So that's what I'm clicking on. It's got to be Pornhub number 1. And then I'm going XXX something. I don't remember exactly what it's called.
What was the first one? I can't even recall, man. Back in the day. It was like, I don't even remember.
This list won't even come out. That's weird. Let's do another one. All right, the 15 best. All right, here we go.
Pornhub's got to be.
Oh, well, check this out. So this obviously answers the question. This is just top websites, period. Okay? Like the top. So Wikipedia was number 1. I'm like, all right, I got the wrong list. Pornhub on the list of all websites.
What is it, like top 5?
5th.
It's 5th.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Netflix 4, Snopes 6, Zombo.
I'm glad that Snopes is in there.
How do you feel about Snopes?
Shit, man. We were going to get to this point, I'm sure, with just everything, state of affairs, with, everything in the media. But, I mean, if you just, if there's fact checking out there, right? I mean, thank God. But even then, there's just so many fucking what ifs about the information that you're trying to consume,
Well, I was talking about this recently with one of the co-hosts. How do you know? So there's been whole civilizations in the past or groups of people where the government would come in and then burn all the books and then rewrite them. And then now it's what they think.
Sure.
So like, where do you go?
Which is fucking scary.
Scary as fuck. So we can literally have no idea what it was like because how many people, knowledge is power.
We might be in that phase now.
It really feels that way.
Right.
It got digital or whatever, so now we got that.
Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, but it's a good point. And where do you? So the argument got brought up. Is Wikipedia a trusted source? And I can see the arguments. People say, "Well, it's written by people." But I'm like, first of all, they take that shit real serious. Mm-hmm. Like they literally in seconds they'll like find flags and fix that.
Right.
Especially if you're like famous or got some shit like that. But that you kind of let the people dictate that. I don't know. Like, do you think it's a trusted source? Would you say? I remember back in growing up, Nothing on the internet was trusted, especially Wikipedia. Seems like one of the most accurate places to go.
I mean, it's definitely in my rotation of places that I would go to for
Information.
depending on the information. Yeah, I mean,
Like if you want to know where LeBron James went to high school.
right, exactly, shit like that, easy
Right.
shit. But in terms of like political information and stuff
hell
like
no.
that,
You can't do that.
no, you can't. And that's the thing.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Because I mean, to a certain extent, Wikipedia is written by people, and it can get opinionated. You can be swayed, right? People are writing these articles, and it says it right there at the top of every article. It's like, if you want to edit this or whatever, you can like go in and. I mean, I've
Right.
never tried to do that. I'm like, these motherfuckers know more than me, but
They once asked for money like randomly, and I'm like, yeah, I paid.
I
them.
paid. I gave money too.
You remember when they asked a
And-
few years back?
And NPR actually. NPR I gave money.
See, I feel like NPR is a good source for good information. It feels like.
You know what it is, man. I think I want everything to be like a true good journalism source. You just don't fucking know right now. It's so hard to like sift through all the. I mean, there are some things out there that are just fucking wild, and you're like,
You're
I
like,
can't
what?
believe
I can't
that
even-
these motherfuckers are like preaching this. But social media is a terrible influence in terms of, I think, misinformation or just in general, like what people are.
Especially because of memes. I think that's the problem too.
Man, it's bad.
You throw some shit on a meme, put my face in the background.
Yeah,
It's
right.
now you just think that I might have said it, even though I didn't.
Right.
You know someone made that, but what do you think, just subconsciously?
And it comes back to the conversation we were having earlier about the Black Lives Movement and just the focus on racism currently and everything that's happening right now. Social media is 1,000,000% the vehicle driving these
All this shit,
conversations,
yeah.
and in many ways, thank God.
Because then you can see two sides of some shit.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Right. In many ways, thank God for it. But in many ways, it's just like, fuck. And then you also start seeing how people feel. Because at a certain point, especially now, people are at the edge where, you have this platform and you start to support things. Kind of like me. Like, I stayed away from up until 5 months ago, I never talked politics. I never talked,
Like ever,
religion.
you always stayed away from this shit.
You know what it was? It was Cubs. I'm at a fucking Cubs game. Look at me. Or look at my boys I'm with. Or fucking vacation. Like real just standard shit in your life. But now it's like, with these different, you have a platform. It's like, now it's like I have to speak up about certain things. You have to. And I think everybody should. Now, depending on where you're getting your information from and what you're posting, it's also the other side of the coin is like, how much do these people really believe in what they're posting? Is it really just a mask? Like here, let me give a shout out to one person, my boy Jeremy fucking Lynn, my guy, the Merpinator,
Merp.
the most negative motherfucker.
I had
on
to.
the planet.
I loved him, but I had to unfriend him because of that.
I gotta tell you something. You're not the only person that.
And I like him.
I love him. But when you talk to him, he's great, man. He's doing great.
But he just posted bullshit.
He just fucking glasses half empty. This motherfucker. Give you an example.
Yeah, exactly.
He lives in fear, being out on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's probably rampant out there. I bet you it's fucking rampant, the bullshit.
But, they got fucking wildfires right now, and they
Right.
got everything else that we're dealing with. And then he's under the weight of the Trump and all that.
Yeah,
Everything
because he's balls deep in that, right?
balls
Yeah.
deep in that. But then to get away from all that, this motherfucker, the White Sox might be the best team in baseball this year, and he doesn't. And because he's a huge White Sox fan, but he shit on them for so many years, he won't
Even embrace it.
embrace how good they are because he's like, I don't deserve it. It's like, motherfucker,
What?
What do you mean you don't deserve it? He's like, man, I shit on them for so long. I don't deserve to enjoy this. Like,
Wow,
that's what being
wait.
a fandom and a fanatic is.
Well,
So-
maybe that's how much of a fan he is, though. That I could argue. I could see the flip side of
Yeah.
the coin. He's such a beast. He don't even love himself. I can see how that's crazy fandom.
I mean, yeah.
He's real sick. Maybe ever again, or he's like, let me just not enjoy it, which is crazy.
Well, with him, he's a wild card. You never know. But my point is like, for social media, like he's got this persona, the social media persona.
I literally had to unfriend him. Like, and I know he's not like that in person. Online, too much.
But and then there's other side of the coin where people are just super positive and happy-go-lucky, and it's like there's no mother.
I try to be that way, man.
And if you're gonna be away, That's a good way to be, I think. Just because, like, nobody's ever going to shit on positivity. And if you are.
Well, that's not true. At least in my experiences, I think sometimes, here's my opinion on that, especially when I was hardcore good vibes only. Now, I will admit this, that I had it wrong. I was trying to suppress any bad thoughts ever.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember Amber Hernandez, who you know very well. I remember going out with her. And this is right in the heart of, like, I'm hardcore good vibe. People buying me gifts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm living it. And I'm like trying to. So anytime we went out and she's like, she had some shit going on with work. Mm-hmm. And my first thought was like, oh, don't worry, no, we'll figure it. You know. And she goes, and then she was like, eventually she was like, Chris, like, this is getting ridiculous now. Like, shit happens, and that was the okay. Right. Good vibes only to me means now that's what I desire, but shit still happens. If I get cut off,
right.
That first initial feeling is, and it's okay to embrace, like, that's what happens. It's natural. I think what good vibes only for me is now is notice that in the moment and don't let it affect you nearly as much as it could affect.
I mean, you can't appreciate all the good shit if bad shit doesn't exist, right? I mean, you don't know how
like WAP versus dry. You don't know how good WAP is if you've always only had dry. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know personally I like WAP, and the reason I love WAP is because I've had some dry, and that shit was hideous, awful, worst shit ever. Hurts.
That's fucking good.
Literally hurts.
Funny, man. But yeah, like, you can't. I mean, if you're all just happy-go-lucky, fucking rainbows and sunshine, I mean, it can get annoying. But yeah, I mean, listen, you gotta, like last night, why I'm so fucking hungover. One of my best friends lost his job, and he got done pretty dirty by
it was fucked up.
The organization. Yeah, it was fucked up. And for me, I was like, listen, man, you got a fresh start. You know, you got severance pay. Like, this is a good thing, you know. But then I'm like, kind of how they went about it. I'm like, you know what? You should be pissed for, like, you should be pissed.
For a little bit, yeah.
And you have to be pissed. And he, not that he was, like, complaining or anything like that, but it was like, listen, man, I'm here. If you want to bitch. And you deserve to bitch. So you know what? Let's take tonight, just fucking bitch and let's get fucked. Like, you need that part of it too, right? I can't just be like, everything's good, man. You know, listen, you have, the people that are like, oh, well, everything's terrible, but you have your health, you have this, you have that. And then it's like, yeah, man, I get perspective, but it's like, all right, man.
I'm a perspective guy. I can't even deny you, man. Because here's the reason why. Let me interrupt you. Here's the reason why I believe in perspective. It's because, and I do agree that you need to let it out.
Yeah.
But I think to embrace that would be the wrong decision, because if you're going to live in a headspace, whatever happened.
Right.
So no matter what, it already happened. The situation's already coming.
You can't change it.
So the headspace to me is easier to think, all right, well, this shit happened, but let's figure it out going forward, as opposed to, why did that happen? These motherfuckers, I can't believe, I was so good. My shit was good. That's not enough. So I just feel they're both tough paths.
Right.
Why not take the one that could put, I don't know if this path can get you from anything.
Agreed.
I don't know if you can fix anything from that perspective.
High road's always the best road, but
But you got to. It's still a natural thing, and you should embrace it.
You got to get shit off your fucking chest when you
don't let it linger though.
You can't. But you got to blow off. You got to
get a night off. All right, get a night like you did. So like, but now to me, it's like, all right, we got it out. We good.
Yeah.
That's kind of how my approach would be. We good now.
Right. Exactly.
Because like 2 months from now, and if it's still a problem, it's like, well, then we got to figure out a different way, you know?
Then it's like, hey, man, shut the fuck up.
Like, look, bro, like, I get it.
Then I'm that guy. You have your health, you have a good credit score. Get the fuck out of here.
Hey, now I know you got to be in the top, and this might even piss you off, top 3 or 4 Cubs fans I know.
I'm a big Cubs fan, man.
Does that piss you off that I think that you might be not number 1?
No, that's okay.
Who do you believe? Is there a bigger Cubs fan that you know than you?
Yeah, they're
like, I guess amongst our buddies, or at least
amongst our buddies,
or not even our buddies, but you know what I'm saying.
My uncle Adam, who is
vicious.
One of my most favorite people in the world, he is a true blue Cubs fan.
Like,
before the year starts, I'm like, I think we're gonna go 40-20. I think that they're this and that, and he's like, no, man. He just listing off all of these reasons why Cubs might make the playoffs, might not, and then he's going into like, yeah, but then he starts talking about AAA and then AA and all the guys in the farm system.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
He's a beast.
But he's the biggest Cub fan I know. Actually, I've been to opening day with him for like the last 15, 16 years running. That was like a thing with my uncle.
Okay, that's a thing. Okay.
And my younger brother is a huge Cubs fan. But But if I'm not the biggest Cub fan that that I'm proud of that actually, because there's bigger. I mean,
I'm just saying. I would say you, Weeder, you guys definitely.
Yeah, Weeder's a baseball guy.
Right. That's.
I mean, he's got that baseball mind. Like
that was his first love, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
I still listen. I love you, Weeder. I love you, man. I don't know how you were the starting point guard. I never understood that personally. Wasn't he a shooter?
Yeah,
I didn't see him as a point guard.
I gotta tell you, in
like
junior high, when I was at London, I was a point guard, and I was a way better player. And then in high school, I became a shooting guard, and then I don't even know what else. We all played. We were all the same height, so we all played the same position. But
everyone's 6'2", 6'1".
Weeder played free safety. He was a point guard. He played shortstop, and which is interesting because those are always your best athletes. And Weeder was a great athlete.
Wait, he was a great athlete, or he was an athlete. He was not great, motherfucker.
He started as a freshman.
He was a beast. Listen,
on the varsity baseball team, and that was a really good baseball team.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so that's different then. Okay, so when I mean athletic, I mean Zion Williamson or Paul Pierce. Or how about this better? Zion Williamson or Luka Doncic.
You're saying athlete specific to a sport or just athleticism?
Athleticism.
Weeder was a great baseball player, but he wasn't the most athletic guy in the room.
But he was great in athletics.
He was.
That's what. That's it. But he was not fucking Zion Williamson.
I mean, listen.
No.
Zion Williamson. He wasn't LeBron. LeBron James is a Pro Bowler. He is a NBA All-Star.
Yeah, he's just a
he's
monster.
And
he doesn't get hurt.
MLB All-Star. He is the greatest athlete ever in terms of physical
and basketball.
I mean,
wait, what is your thoughts?
Let me ask you a question. When you watch The Last Dance, which is funny, you know what's funny?
I watched like 10 times too, by the way.
I watched it twice. I watched it when and then when it was on Netflix.
So good.
So good.
Best of all time. Best documentary of all time.
I mean, it's up there. But you got to remember this, and it's funny because I got boys like in my crew, and they're from Chicago, and they're like, "Man, those first 2 episodes." And I was like, after the first 2 episodes, I was like, "When is this gonna get good?" I know all this shit, but you forget how much people we knew all of those things.
We knew a lot of that shit.
The Michael Jordan highlights in his day. You got to be out of your fucking mind if you don't think that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player to ever. Now, greatest athlete.
No, yeah. So yeah, and he was a beast too. He was a fucking beast.
I mean, of the greatest athletes, Michael Jordan is in the top 100 or 50 or whatever.
And I would say Jordan definitely was way. The one argument I hear for Jordan that I'm like, damn, that was a hard one, is the gap of everyone else as opposed to LeBron's gap.
Facts.
So I think that was like, damn, like who was the best back then?
Also,
like Barkley, like he ain't.
Think about scoring. Think about guys like James Harden. Think about guys like even like a Jimmy Butler who changed his game because he gets to the free throw line now 10, 15 times a game. The league is soft. There isn't a single motherfucker out here that's our age that isn't going to tell you that the NBA right now is elite. It's cupcakes. Michael Jordan, if he gets to the line 15, 18, 20 times a game going to the rim like he was in his prime, Michael Jordan's going to average 40-plus points a game.
Yeah, but see, okay, so my argument to that was, and I do believe as far as the skill of scoring the basketball, Jordan is way better than LeBron. I believe that.
Uh-huh.
But tweaked it
and almost perfected it in a way. Now, I can't say that Kobe Bryant is the best all time because we had already seen Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
he
literally
said
in the
Michael
documentary.
Jordan.
Right.
I mean, but when you go back and he had that Mamba mentality, Jordan already had that killer instinct. He just didn't make the faces, right? Jordan got away with a lot, whatever. Especially when you watch The Last Dance.
And he's lucky there's no social media.
Holy,
because he lives some
about
life.
A man.
He got clutch.
That was at the right place
at the right time.
Man.
What? Anybody that great is gonna get it.
But that's the other greatness about LeBron is he has navigated all of that
somehow
incredibly. Best athlete of all time. I mean, LeBron James has to be in that conversation,
or maybe like Bo Jackson or some shit.
Bo Jackson, Jim Brown, running back from.
Although Zion is,
he might be right?
Dude, I love him. I'm in love with him.
It's impossible not to. He's on a different level on the basketball court right now than anybody else. in terms of.
And he's not even like really good yet compared to everyone else.
He
Like
might-
he's just better than you.
But he might never
Need it.
He
even.
might always just be raw. Whereas Jordan was so much better and with raw athleticism in the league. And then remember
And then
when
got it.
And then remember when he was like, then he all of a sudden, I don't remember when it was, what year it was, when he was just like, all of a sudden you're like, man, this fadeaway jumper's new.
It had. I felt like it was right when the second
He reinvented himself. He reinvented
the second three-peat. I feel like is when that shit
Yep.
came.
Yep, because his legs weren't what they used to. Now, LeBron James, in my opinion, he could play till he's 50. Imagine if LeBron James decided just to stay on the block and work on an inside game.
Oh yeah. And for some reason he won't do that.
Right.
Imagine if he played.
Because he's too good of a passer. He's too good in the open.
That's
too good.
to me. That's what. Okay, so I'm talking just eye test, and I didn't get to catch a lot of that late '80s, early because we were kind of young when it happened. So we just saw what we seen. But I've seen all of LeBron's career, and I've been and again I believe I'm biased because I've followed him since St. Vincent St. Mary. Like I've been hardcore. You know this. I've been out there.
Also, to live up to the hype
So yeah,
and to even
surpass it.
surpass it. LeBron, when you put down all those things, LeBron James is arguably, I mean, he's the greatest athlete of all time,
So
but he's
dope.
not the best basketball player of all time.
So
He's just not.
let me
Because what Jordan did for the game, he elevated it to an unbelievable level that LeBron James simply can't because Jordan had already done it.
now see. Well, then how about this? You want to talk about changing the game? I think
making
Steph-
it soft.
I would say maybe
Little bit.
Steph Curry
Agreed.
has, I think, transformed the game more than Jordan did.
Steph, bold statement, but warranted. Steph Curry in his MVP year,
Disgusting.
when you'd watch Golden State and you're like, this motherfucker's gonna pull up from the other
3 one day.
three,
right.
and I mean, unreal.
It doesn't even look like he should. He doesn't even look like he should be out there.
He's the best. In my opinion, he's the best shooter
Oh, for
in
sure.
game
Off the dribble.
shooter of all time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone even comes close to saying nobody's close to that.
I don't think anybody's close to that. I think
And-
he's the
and-
greatest shooter of all. I
And
mean,
Klay Thompson might be number 2.
Klay Thompson.
Definitely from spot up.
Listen, in terms of
I like him.
Jordan Pippen, Curry, Klay Thompson. I think they're Thompson, Curry, Jordan Pippen. They're easily the second best, in my opinion. The second best. You can go like Stockton, Malone, or I mean,
Well, no. I know you about to hate me for what I'm about to say
you
now.
know, if you say something stupid like Kevin Love, LeBron James,
No,
or you go-
I'm about to say, let these motherfuckers win, and you give me 2 more years.
and-
That's just too nasty. They're too big. The defense and LeBron still proving last night he can D you up if he need to, and he's gonna get calls.
he's gonna get called.
He definitely got some calls. They got him one. I'm like, nigga, you fouled him.
Listen, he deserved. He's LeBron
Draymond
James.
Green, he tweeted. Did you see what he tweeted?
Mm-mm.
So there was a foul, and he got touched, and he goes, he ain't done enough work to get that call against LeBron. Murray, you ain't getting that call against LeBron.
Yeah.
Do you hate that about
Also,
basketball?
No respect. Listen, go back.
What about a foul's a foul?
A foul's a foul. Listen,
I don't know how to feel about
in
that.
sports, there is a reason why there are superstars, and there's a reason for respect. Think about a guy like when you go back and you watch like old clips or you hear like old interviews about guys talking about Wayne Gretzky. That motherfucker had more respect than anybody. Nobody was going to put him in the fucking board.
Is he still considered the best?
He's the great one.
Okay.
He's the greatest hockey player. I mean, there's guys. I mean,
I don't know a ton about hockey. I'm not
listen,
really in the blood.
I don't know. I mean, a ton about hockey, but my point is, you earn that respect. Like great pitchers in baseball, they're gonna get calls, right? They're gonna get those borderline calls because they're that good. Like you did, I think LeBron did. You just Jordan, man. You need to look at the back end.
Man, when you're up there, the fact that he's even in an argument is still dope. And that's the fact that there's a lot of people, including myself, who believe that what they have seen is LeBron's the best, right? I think most of them is Jordan, but there's a huge percentage of it.
The shame, not the shame. That's not the right word. A shame is that between Jordan and LeBron was Kobe, who, if you're gonna pick an all 5, which this actually is a fun game that I like to play.
Okay.
If you're gonna pick an all 5 greatest, your NBA 5, like. How was Kobe not on your 5?
Are we doing based on position or just 5 players?
You do it by position. You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
if you go by.
He don't play.
I know. Right?
He gets on the team. He don't play.
He's your first man off the bench, probably. Maybe. Because your number one is
I guess it depends on what.
right. So I'm old school, but like if we did a draft, number one player. Are you
So who? All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Who you going one? Who's your one?
Magic Johnson's my one. Magic, he's got to be.
He's
He
such a
changed the
beast,
game.
Yeah.
He changed the game. Without Magic Johnson,
Can I put, since LeBron's playing point, can I throw him in there or no? Not yet.
1,000%.
So I can put him at point guard.
You could put a point guard.
I mean, he's been a point forward.
It's hard for me not to put LeBron James as my point guard, but because I'm old school, Magic Johnson is my point guard, which is
So would you? So that means, but LeBron still plays at the 3.
I don't know.
Whoa! Don't talk crazy.
I gotta
in here.
think about it.
Don't talk crazy.
I mean,
here.
listen,
he's not even in the starting 5. Oh, that's crazy. I can't even think.
Because my shooting guard is Michael Jordan.
That's right.
Right?
That's fair. So give me your 4. We'll do the 3 last. Give me your 4.
By 4 is so tough, man.
That is a tough one.
Because like under the radar, Tim Duncan. How is Tim Duncan not your 4? Right?
Winner just wins.
Winner. But how's Karl Malone, one of the greatest scorers of all time, in his prime, a monster?
It's because it wasn't pretty. He just looked so boring.
I mean,
He was all big and shit. It didn't look good, but damn, he was efficient.
I mean, yeah, man. I mean, a black man in Utah. He's not
Oh my God,
like the
it's
only black man in Utah.
Did you see that clip of him on Vlad TV where they were asking about when the documentary came out? They said, "So how do you feel about when I say the words Michael Jordan? What comes to your mind to Karl Malone?" Did you hear what he said?
Maybe.
He was like, he's like, I don't know, good guy. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, right.
And it was dope because everyone else is like, they suck his dick, and Karl was like, yeah, fuck.
I mean,
that mentality is kind of vicious.
A lot. I think a lot of those fucking guys don't give a fuck about Jordan. I mean, they're bitter. I mean,
it's because of being bitter.
They zoom in on Isaiah Thomas, and he's almost in tears, like, man, they let me in the dream team, and he just, whatever. But I mean, a lot of those guys, I don't think they got paid millions of dollars to play basketball, and I mean, Carmelo was a beast. I don't know. I mean, my power forward. I'm gonna have to go Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan is my power forward. That's tough. I mean,
see, to me, like, I know he's probably not no one's, but the argument of Kevin Garnett, his game,
love it. Great call. His mid-range jumper as a forward. I mean, he might have one of the best mid-range jumpers in the history of big men. If he doesn't, other than maybe Dirk, but like.
What about? Oh, that's another vision. It's especially how you want to build your team, right?
That's how you got to build your team, right? So I mean, I got Magic, I got Jordan, I got Duncan. I'm winning.
Right. Oh, so
right?
Who's the 5? This is tough.
Shaq.
Yeah, you gotta go Shaq. Anybody is a fool to me to not go anything. I get Bill Russell, all that shit.
In his prime.
Lakers, like 2000,
or even I mean.
Or are you going Orlando?
I mean,
Orlando.
When I go full. Here's the thing. My little brother is a gigantic Shaquille O'Neal fan.
Oh, yeah,
and I was never a Shaq fan until I saw him live. And I'll tell you why. When I watched it, and then it had to be, he was on the Lakers. When he was on the block and he drop step, spun, baseline, and dunked, I'm like, how is a man that's 7'1", 9 million pounds move that fast? That's the fastest thing I've ever seen. He was
so like seeing it in person, you just see it was way faster. And it was big.
Shaquille O'Neal in his prime, at his size, would destroy any other center.
Yeah, by far. Although Hakeem gave him a little, I think he's admitted it too. He goes, Hakeem.
By the way, Hakeem might be my 5 off the bench, which is tough to say. I don't know how you don't go like
He gets so screwed. No one knows about him.
And Bill Russell, same thing. But I mean,
and we know why.
Hakeem was so smooth, and you forget he's in the same draft as Jordan.
Yeah, but Jordan was just so ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
But Shaq is the one guy who I think most people say he should be in the 5. Or if you're not losing with Shaq.
In his prime, Shaquille O'Neal you're not fucking with Shaquille O'Neal in the paint, man. You just
0%.
Even if someone drops 30 on Shaquille O'Neal, he's gonna drop 34 and he's gonna make you work. I mean, Shaq, was on another level of athleticism.
Imagine if he just shoots 70% free throws. Imagine that craziness.
Even 60%.
I think I heard something that said had he just shot something like that, he would be the leading scorer. I think I read something like that.
I mean, Shaquille O'Neal in his prime. I don't know. He's got to be your 5. If you grew up when we grew up, even if you didn't, Shaquille O'Neal, man.
I was a huge Shaq guy. I remember collecting all his cards and shit. I still love the motherfucker, to be honest.
Remember Blue Chip? Was it Blue Chips?
Him and Anthony.
Oh,
Did you ever see the? There's a real story about why that was a thing. So that actually was a real story. that was the first time Anthony and Shaq, I don't know if you've heard of this, where they met each other. And they let him really play ball, like actual basketball on the court during the film.
No shit.
So Shaq, Anthony was the upcoming rookie.
Right.
And Shaq was already in the league making this movie. So then Penny was, and I heard this on a podcast Penny was on. This is what he said. So he goes, so I was like, wait a minute.
Love Penny Hardaway.
Love him. And he seems like a good guy too.
Well-spoken guy for sure.
Right.
Coaching college. I think he's having some
Memphis?
success too. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Memphis. So he goes, so I'm like, no, I heard the big fella, likes me, and so I just started feeding him the ball. He just kept feeding him. He was like, I'm just going to feed this motherfucker, And then Shaq, you saw the slobs in the movie. That was real basketball. Those are real players. You know who else was in the movie? There was a bunch.
Yeah, there was a few.
Bobby Hurley was in there.
Hurley was in it, right?
Who else? There was like 3 more. Stacey Augmon, maybe. But anyways, they were really playing ball out there, which because it kind of felt real. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, Shaq's dunking a little hard.
It might be one of the most underrated basketball movies. I mean, it's got it for me.
And a great story too, like real, and it's real talk.
Nick Nolte in his prime, man, that coach, he was what a fucking nightmare.
Nick fucking Nolte. Yeah, so I guess that's how they fucking. Well, tell me this.
That's a good story.
Your 3 spot now, because you might have to leave depending on how ridiculous this is.
I mean, it's got to be LeBron.
No, don't you say that because that's the end.
No. It was not influenced by. I mean, listen, if LeBron's not on the floor and you're starting 5 years, because he can play every position, right?
Literally want to, especially now.
Literally.
It might be a little tougher to guard, Shaq, obviously. Everyone, or even Luke Longley, who was the exact same size as Shaq, as far as weight and height.
That's ridiculous. Think about it. That's exactly my point.
They're both like 7'2" to 370, whatever they were. And it's just not even close.
I mean, you forget too. Shaq had like a size 21 shoe, man. To the way how quick he moved, his footwork, and he just bullied everybody.
Did you like 2000 a little bit heavier Shaq or that Orlando fucking dog? He was a dog.
I like
pick
both.
one.
When Shaq realized he could just bully you, that's what he did, right?
Yep.
And that was those Laker days. But there was a little more athleticism and finesse in the Orlando days.
He used to run the court and shit. It was so like, look at this big motherfucker like a gazelle, just and then wow.
Dude, he would have. I mean, he might. Shaquille O'Neal in his prime, he might have been the greatest defensive end that ever lived if he played football. Like that's how big and quick and fast and strong he was. He would just have destroyed. I mean,
7'2" is tall for the D end. I mean, wait.
I'm just saying, man.
Can you imagine that?
Because when I think about athletes, I think how would they fare in other sports?
That's cool. I
always think about that, and that's why LeBron James could LeBron James be the best center fielder of all time? Yes, maybe. Well, yes, he could. Could he be the greatest defensive?
Who is the tallest center fielder ever?
I don't know, but
what would you think?
Judge on the Yankees is like 6'7" or something.
Oh, so
he plays right field, and he's a monster.
All right.
I mean,
so you can be tall playing that position. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
You probably want tall and quick, right? Long. Is that what you would want?
Baseball is one of those interesting sports where like you can eye a guy up and be like, "Holy fuck, this guy plays professional baseball." Kind of like hockey, Sometimes you see hockey players, especially working underground. I would see every athlete,
right?
And I'd be like, "How the fuck is this guy?"
I could probably take this.
Patrick Kane would walk in, and I'd be like, "This motherfucker is 5'8", 140 pounds, and he scored 50 goals."
He's just a beast, though. He just knew what the fuck he was doing.
I mean, he just
didn't look like he just wasn't. Like if you did not know what he looked like, you couldn't tell.
Exactly.
Regular guy at the bar.
Baseball is more like that than when you see
basketball and football. I feel like this is a bigger motherfucker.
You know when you see him.
This guy's an athlete.
Yeah. you know,
right,
especially basketball. When you see,
because they're always tall as shit.
Yeah, always.
So working in, I used to work in Lincolnshire at the Cheesecake Factory so Berto Center was over there.
Right.
So I used to see a couple of those guys there that actually served Lance Briggs his rookie year.
Dude, he was a regular at Underground, Lance Briggs.
He's a cool guy too. I'll never forget when I saw this motherfucker. I said, and I didn't know he was a rookie. I didn't really know. All I saw was kind of a big motherfucker, clean cut, and he had one of those palm phones back. Remember those palm phones where you can?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah,
right.
with the pin. And I'm like, okay, you obviously have some money, and that Lincolnshire is a nice area. So I'm like, so I served him the whole time, and I'm like, I know you gotta play ball or something. He's like, yeah, I play a little football. That's exactly what he said. That's all he said. Which to me, and later that's so dope, right? He wasn't like, yeah, I play football. Yeah. I play a little football. Then I ran his card. I'm like, oh shit, this Lance Briggs. And again, he was a rookie, so what can it mean?
Great career,
but fucking jacked,
dude. It's funny. He used to come in all the time to Underground, and he's not a tall guy. He's like 6'2", maybe. So he's not that much taller than you and I. But if you measured the front of his chest to his back,
he's real.
He's like 3 feet. He's like 3 feet thick.
Actual man. He's got man.
I used to literally I used to literally be like, Lance, because we had 2 rooms at the Underground, and there was like a hallway that connected them. And Lance, I recall, I have memories of being like, Lance, do me a favor, man. I know that for a living, that's what you do is you block and tackle and shit, but get the fuck out of my hallway. You're bottlenecking the whole fucking thing. He was just standing
like
there,
literally,
because everybody knew him and he was such a nice guy. And I was like, get the fuck out of the way, man, because he's used to like being in the thick of shit in the traffic. But yeah, like certain guys, like linebackers, like those type of guys, like you can tell, like tight ends, when you see him in person, you're like, that guy plays pro ball. But no, there isn't a sport other than basketball. You're like, that motherfucker plays basketball.
Yeah, because even Derrick Rose is like 6'3" or something. Like he's tall. Like I remember, who did I see? It was
D-Rose,
Steve
man.
Kerr. I love D-Rose. Still love him.
But the crew that he used to roll with, especially at Underground, no good, man.
Oh, he had a bad
They're
crew.
just a pain in the ass. Yeah.
He seemed like he was so impressionable. Yeah, like he just kind of just
real nice guy, humble.
Like too nice, maybe.
When you meet, and people would always ask me like, who are the coolest people you met, or like this and that, at Underground. Because I literally,
other than me, obviously,
took care. Other than me, of course. But I literally took care of the who's who of everybody in like every industry, man, and which was amazing. And I never, and it's funny because all of these superstars and all these people and all these, Hollywood people and sports and athletes and musicians, they were all really cool. The only issues that I had were
their people,
were
the entourage,
but like actual specific people. Pains in the ass. One was Patrick Kane.
Really?
Who was just a
jerk?
He was just a puddle, man. You had to peel that kid off the floor every night. He just
he just get too fucked up.
Hockey guys are the best. They'd call me or text me in advance. They'd be like, "Yo, Scott, I need 3 cases of Bud Light, a bottle of fucking Fireball, and just chicks. Any chicks you can find, just put at the table." Those motherfuckers don't give a fuck.
Just give me some chicks.
Just give chicks at the table, and they were all great dudes. And that was, and I was working Underground in the prime of Blackhawks when they were, the dynasty. And Joe Kim Noah.
Really?
He was kind of big ego, man. Big ego, Joe Kim Noah.
Really? He seems like so metaphysical.
Everybody wants him to be like,
like
Joe
the greatest guy.
This cool fucking like.
Was it more than once?
Like every time.
Okay.
Like this cool like bohemian dude who smokes weed and he's a fucking gamer and all this shit.
You would think. Oh no.
He just maybe it was just me. He just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But otherwise, like LeBron came in with Chris Bosh and he was legit. Dwayne Wade. Cutler was a super good dude.
Like, he's all good people.
All good people, especially Chicago athletes, man. They were always good dudes. But then, baseball guys were always they were my favorite guys that came in because they were always easy. And Chicago loves their fucking, they love their athletes. So. Oh
yeah. Speaking of loving athletes, were you in the building for Game 7?
Where
were you?
I was at the Stretch in Wrigleyville.
Oh, okay.
Game 7 was in Cleveland.
Right.
And I broke a stool after that home run. After Chapman gave up that home run to tie the game.
Brutal.
Broke a stool. But I was in Wrigleyville, man. I made sure I was there. I went to 60. No, I didn't go to 60 games. That's ridiculous. I went to 43 games that year.
Yeah, I remember you're like, holy, this motherfucker goes to a lot.
Home and away. I try to go to 25 games a year, and I almost always sit in the bleachers. I love right field, Sammy Sosa. Growing up, and now Jay Hay, who I say what you want. Jay Hay is a fucking incredible professional baseball player.
He seems so fucking professional.
And when I've met him, and I've hung out with him quite a few times, he's a great dude.
Just a good dude.
Good dude, man. Humble. Baseball guys are always humble. And Jay Hay, by the way, makes $27 million. These motherfuckers get paid.
Dude, they're
super humble, man. They're very, very humble.
I was talking, so Steve, you know Steve Carl?
I know Steve Carl.
Yeah, so that's my brother, and I've done a lot of cool shit because of him.
Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed is he's well in life, Yeah. And he hangs around crowds that are well in life. That's what you do,
Right. You rub elbows with the upper crust.
Right.
That's what they say.
And so obviously I've been in that situation too. And one thing that we both learned at the same time is that people who are doing, and not even just you have something, but even like me, like I don't have a ton of money, but I think that
cheers to that.
What people will say is like, I can hold my own amongst it. You know what I'm saying? Put me in the room. And what I've noticed that people who are doing shit, they don't hate like that. They don't hate on that motherfucker for the most part. Like if you're doing something, like for instance, people are scared to go to the gym, right? Like say you're overweight and you go to the gym and you're like, I don't want people to make fun of me. It's like, bro, I'm telling you, most of the people that are in the gym would look at you and be like, that's what's up.
Yep.
I think that we all have.
Perspective is a beautiful thing to have, and all successful people have it. And if you don't, and you're successful, then you probably come from money, or who the fuck knows.
And you probably ain't happy. You know, you can have a lot of money and be fucking miserable. A lot of people have a lot of money and miserable.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to find out if you know.
I mean, people kill themselves. Like, I bet you more rich people kill themselves than poor people. I bet you like percentage. I don't know. I'm just making shit up, but I just feel like being miserable. I don't think money is. I think there's an amount of money where it's to be comfortable. So you don't got to worry about where your food's coming.
Right.
But as far as
it's a comfortability thing, I think, to your point. But success is measured in a million different fucking ways.
Yeah, and to me personally, and the reason I brought this up is because I've been in circles with people with a lot of money, and they got the same fucking issues. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and in most of the people are just regular ass people. Almost all of them, I would say, almost all of the people that I've met that are really killing it, and some, whether it be an athlete, just a regular person got dealing with shit too. So
right,
I'm kind of glad. So going back to the original point of Game 7, I don't know if you knew this, but I got lucky. So Steve won that DraftKings shit, right? Remember that?
I recall that. Yeah,
he won fantasy baseball DraftKings.
How much did he win?
Millie Ball.
Steve won $1 million.
$1 million. I can prove all that. $1 million. Anyway, but he was already killing it before that. But
was that taxed? What they give him?
I think I feel
what did he walk with, like $500,000?
I think he found a way to get a lot of it. There was like some loopholes to put into a business or something. But yeah, they took something obviously. But my point is
right.
he what the fuck was the point? What was I making?
Game 7.
Oh,
Steve.
So he won this shit,
mm-hmm.
and what he started to realize is, wait a minute, now he's considered a champion in DraftKings. Like his name is known, and he goes to a bunch of these little events that they do, and he's won quite a few of them. That was only big dog he's won,
right?
40, 50 grand. Like, and here's the funny part about this story.
I love 40 or 50 grand.
Every so often, free vacation.
Yeah, right.
They let your boys come out, so him and the boys we're all just turning up, and then he gets to do this. It didn't win most of them.
Yeah, right.
So we're all turning. Our boy and I'm sitting there. Yeah, nigga, my nigga's winning. Yeah, that nigga winning. And he's the most unassuming. Again, even Steve, he's sitting here just the most regular guy of all time.
Right.
You know. So people who are killing it. Anyways, so he started to ask them, what if I just asked them to give us tickets to shit? So he started saying, hey, is there any way you guys can find? You know, they sponsor everything and they get tickets, right? So he goes, you know what? And they're like, yeah, you go to this game. So we started going. So we got a bunch of games. He got, I would say, probably 4 games during the World Series run.
Amazing.
On the house, or on DraftKings.
That's incredible. They were not cheap.
No, no.
And I had inside fucking, but they were not cheap. Good for you. I mean,
well, so here's the point. I went to I feel like I might have been bad luck. I went to the game where we lost to the Dodgers at home.
Yeah, that was the
Kershaw.
NLCS.
It was like 1-0. Yeah, I remember something like it was brutal game.
It was a Kershaw Hendricks duel, and it was 1-0. I was at that game too.
Great fucking game. I'm like, God damn, every pitch was a motherfucker.
Yeah, man. Dude, you can't put a price on sporting experiences like that. You just can't.
Oh, so let me finish the story to make it even further. So I went to one of those games, and then he had like another ticket, a couple for other people. So, you know, hook everybody up.
That's awesome.
Then there was talk like, wait a minute, we might go to the World Series, right? That's what I'm thinking. So I'm like, Steve, and he's my best friend. I'm like, Steve, if there's any way, I got to go to the, like, if I get a chance to go, I need to be there.
Right.
He's like, let's see what I can do. So he called DraftKings and had a way. They gave him, he was like, can I get tickets to, you know, whatever's going on? He's like, I can only give you 2 tickets to Game 6 in Cleveland. And then he was like, fuck, I'm trying to get all the bros. He's like, well, the best I could do is you want to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers game. And so here was, and mind you, so he came to me first. He's like, hey, Scylla, you know, Mark hasn't gone to one of these games yet, And I'm, you know, me, I'm like, well, yeah, take the enough. Right. He goes, what? But what if? Would you be cool going court? It was on the floor games to the Cleveland Cavaliers game. Like, what? I said, LeBron against Harden to sit 3 fucking. I was like, absolutely, right?
Yeah, right.
So and then Mike went with me. So we're sitting, and this is a crazy story. So we go. That game, Game 6, I'm at the Cleveland Cavaliers game, and the game was kind of ending right in like 4th inning of the Cubs game. It's a great game. Cleveland, we're all the Cubs decked out. Everyone in there is Cleveland decked out.
Yeah, right.
And I'll never get this. The score pops up 1st inning, and we're winning. Me and Mike, during a free throw like of Cleveland, we see the score. We're drunk. We're like, oh shit! Like we're fucking doing something, and it's literally across the way. I don't know if you know Cleveland. It's like you could throw a baseball.
No, I know Cleveland pretty well actually. But it's right there.
Which is super dope. That little complex,
awesome.
so cool as fuck.
Yeah, it's like I forget what the fuck it's called. But
I think it's just like a complex, a sports complex, right?
It's like the only place to hang out down there anyway. But yeah, right.
The
there.
whole strip, whatever the fuck strip that is a joke.
Fucking,
Wait, I always say Cleveland's the worst.
It's fucking Cleveland.
So I'm like, hell yeah, right? And then we start cheering, right? And they fucking and then the whole stadium booed us. And we're like, fuck that. Mind you, it was like probably 4 minutes left in the game.
If there's anybody that I can think of that would love nothing more to be booed in a stadium, it would be you. You just probably soaked it.
Oh, I did. I was like, yeah. Well, me and Mike were so happy. And then we literally rerun out because we're like, okay, because we're really there for the Cubs, right?
Right.
So we go running out, and that was a cool experience. So then it comes, we're going to win now. Steve goes, dude, do you know how fucked up I'm going to feel if we're in Cleveland for Game 7 and we don't go? No, he goes, if I don't go. That's what he said. I'm like, it'd be fucked up. He goes, y'all trying to go? We're like, what? I'm like, what? Game 7? I'm like, I'm like, hell, we all had to work too. I'm like, look, man, I'm sorry. I'm not missing this for nothing.
It's literally once in a lifetime.
Right.
Like if you look at the actual facts of 100 years or the last time. I mean, it's
and for the other team, it was vicious too. So I literally was like, Steve,
like 60 years
and they knew I was at Game 6, but I was supposed to work the next morning. That was the deal. I'm like, I'm sorry, but his name is Brian. I'm like, I can't, bro. I just can't. And he was like, what shift? So he was like, I got you. Yeah. You would be an asshole to not find a way unless you're a doctor. So I don't know. Even that.
My bosses told me, during that whole World Series run, and if the Cubs were going to win, and afterwards when we did the parade, they told me, they're like, we don't expect to see you.
Yeah, especially you.
I wasn't even gonna tell. I was just like, fuck off, But anyway, so
then he goes, yeah, man, we got to, and we're like, hell yeah. So then we fucking go. Mind you, so it's like
did he get tickets? Did you guys get tickets, or did he just bought tickets?
He has a guy on the inside too that knows someone, and then he got a seat, but then he's like, but I can get 3 standing.
Fuck yeah.
Which were still not cheap, and he had to pay for those out of his pocket.
Dude, standing room only too. You're not sitting for most of that game anyway.
I could argue I'd rather sit in that section than sitting in a seat kind of confined. I'm telling you, it was like a fucking party in that little section. Yeah. It was dope. And ironically, my co-host Matt was in the same section. So when that happened,
that's fucking beautiful.
And then now
that's how you know you're in the right place.
I'm like,
man.
what? And then and he's like, yeah, I was at the game. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I was standing room. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah. I'm like, what? Man, I remember going in there. Now, I've always been a Cubs fan, but not like you guys. You know what I'm saying? You guys were like fucking vicious, but I've always repped the Cubs since high school. I mean, North Shore. Yeah, right. We're all Cubs fans, most of us. I remember going in there thinking, like you can feel whatever the fuck was in the air. You could feel it. It was like you could like a knife. You could cut it like butter.
Yeah, you could. You can't trade that feeling or what that sense is for anything, man.
I'm like, ooh. I'm like, you could just. And then we're all excited. I got the shit on the Snapchat or whatever. And then and it was like mostly Cubs fans in that bitch. It was like packed.
Cubs travel well, man. We travel
especially for that.
We out
shit.
there, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Cubs fans are out there.
Oh, like it's a goddamn Cubs game. I literally think we might have been at least 40-50%, like half, I bet.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then there was fucking all kind of killers. Murray was. I'm like, oh, this is crazy, right? So then we're fucking. Then they hit that home run, and before that, all the Cubs fans were like, we're gonna do it. And I'm like, don't you guys know to shut the fuck up? Is what I'm thinking. Like, stop talking that way.
Shut the fuck up.
Like don't you know the history? Shut the fuck. And then that happened. So my first thought is, oh no, these motherfuckers were talking too much. And I'll never forget how loud that was. Rocking, just and there's one girl that I was probably fucking with. We was fucking with each other. She's pointing at me, laughing and shit, and I'm like, "Oh no!" And then that fucking rain delay came, and we're all like, "What the fuck do we do?" Like no one knew what the fuck to do.
Right.
Steve had his brother back home. Like, what are you guys seeing on the TV? He goes, "I guess there's a half-hour period where they're gonna play." And we're like, "So we didn't know we gonna come back. What do you do in that situation?"
Do you stay?
Do you stay just how long do you think they stay for?
Till
you think that overnight? Do you think it'd be overnight?
Dude, listen, you're talking to me. I would have slept there, man. You gotta fuck it. It's Game 7.
I'm not even talking about the fans. I'm talking about the team. Like how long until baseball says let's start over?
It depends on how late it gets. It's all it all comes down to fucking like TV schedule shit. But
So like, do you get the people to come back? Like, what do you do?
I think you.
That'd be such a shit show.
You have to play. You have to play. I mean, they were gonna. That whole rain delay thing is such a fucking crazy part of like Cubs lore. You know,
It's so weird.
it's so weird. It's great, dude. I mean, that's a fucking good story, man.
Best, I would say,
So you were at Game 7.
drunk as shit. I got all the proof and everything. Me,
love
Mike,
that.
Steve, and Mark.
I love that, man.
So
With your
dope.
boys too.
With the boys. The boys. Dude, so we took an Uber. So we kind of parked a little bit far from the whatever. It's like $20 going there. Coming back, like $250 or some shit. The surcharge was, and I don't know, Cleveland, how horrible, it all closes at like 10 or some shit.
Yeah, it's fucking miserable.
And then you have to go to like the only place that was open was the casino. So that, because we got to find something to do.
Yo.
Nigga, with the Cubs just won.
Yo, what's Steve like at the casino?
I mean, he does some big pulls, But here's what's cool about
I
Steve.
bet he's a lot of fun at the casino, man.
Well, and here's why, though. Here's why. So he doesn't really do this too much. But back when we were young, and mind you, we were 20, 21, and he had fucking 50 grand in his pocket like an idiot. So he would be like, all right, man, here, go play. Like, he was like that.
Love
so he would
that.
like let me play off his dime all the time. Anyways, and thank you for that, Steve. That's dope as fuck. And plus, he's not really flashy at all, like 0% flash. So when we did all that Vegas shit,
Yeah.
and Steve's the one paying all those bills, he was like, nah, you take care of that. And me clowning, like I'm like, that's right, motherfucker. Bottle on me, nigga. It was so fucking ridiculous.
I love that.
I remember, again,
In Vegas is a whole other thing. Like, actually, question for you. Depending on how long this no drinking thing goes, if I called you in a couple weeks from now and I'm like, yo, I got a private jet, we're going to Vegas. Would you turn up in Vegas? Would you drink?
no,
No.
but I'd still go and be turned.
Yeah, but you even
I'd
even
pop a
in
pill
Vegas,
or something. I'd do
right.
something. I'm just
But
not
even in
drinking.
Vegas, you wouldn't drink.
No, not at the moment.
Love
The
that.
problem with that is I can't do, at the moment, I'm going to say I have no desire. That's what I'm going to say. I don't know when the situation comes. I just know that as fun as that weekend you would think would be with the alcohol, I do believe it can equally be as fun without it, one. But then two, you're going to really feel like shit. Like your body's going to feel like shit. And especially someone who's been trying to hold it back.
Right.
So if I let one Vegas trip get me down, it's like, man, am I really a pussy? That's kind of how I think.
I just no. That's interesting because for me, of course, that would be the hardest place
The hardest.
to stick to your guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So and then the point was, so Steve is the one where they go with the check, right? Where the cute little girl, here you go.
Of course, man.
And he'll still do that, but what he'll do is like there'll be like the club guy who like takes care of the people spending money. Like that was his job. His name was Jersey, actually.
VIP host, yeah.
Yeah, he's the VIP
The
host.
host.
Jersey at Hakkasan.
Yeah, man. Hakkasan is
Hakkasan.
great spot.
So right, so we have this. Remember the whole Limitless thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was this whole thing, and we had literally a section for like 50 people at Hakkasan, right next to DJ Tiesto. So it was one of those. But the reason I bring this story up is Steve goes, "Hey man, whatever Chris needs, make sure he's good." Right? So I just got the made man, right?
Yeah, man.
So when you said the hockey guys were like, they're just a bunch of girls, dude, I felt what it felt like to be like that guy.
Yeah.
Because he's like, Jerry's like, hey man, follow me. So we go in the back, right? I'm like literally walking this back room. I'm like, okay, this is some cool shit.
People love that shit.
The back room is so dope. And it's not even nothing. It's just
Yo,
a room.
There's like a weird thing about people that love being like in the back rooms or like in Chicago for whatever reason. We used to bring people in the underground, like rich motherfuckers that were going to pop off for like 15, 20, 30,
They're gonna spend
whatever.
some dough.
They wanted to come into the kitchen.
Yeah,
of
the
all
kitchen's a
places,
thing, right?
a
Is it?
fucking like a fucking shitty ass little kitchen, man. A fucking kitchen in a nightclub to take shots and like bullshit. Like I
Is
can't
it
say
because of the space? Because they just don't want to be around the bullshit?
I don't. Maybe it,
That shit does get old.
But you know what it is? You know what I think it comes down to, and for you too, where you were. It's like the exclusivity of it. It's like
For sure.
It's like the only people out back here are like
For sure.
nobody's allowed back here, like bus boys. It's like I don't know. People love. Being
Yeah,
in
it's
these,
exclusive. Right?
I'm gonna be out. You're at a table with bottles of fucking Dom and Ace and all
Dumb
kinds of shit.
Right.
If you got 20 grand on the table, you got fucking dimes everywhere. You got your boys, but you want to come back into the fucking kitchen and have a fucking shot of some
good point.
shitty
All right,
ass
good point.
tequila and chop it up with me about nothing. Like, what the fuck are we doing back here? But people love that shit.
And it happens quite often, huh?
Every night. At the bar I'm opening in a couple weeks, by the way.
Yeah, shout that out real quick
So
before we get out of here.
So opening up a bar in Old Town, 1252 North Wells, called Uproar, mid-October. 2 floors. It's gonna be amazing. People love it. Myself, my younger brother.
Oh, okay. You got the double in this bitch.
We've been waiting to do something for years. A good friend of mine and childhood friend of mine, Rick Douglas, who I don't know if you know, he's a year older than me. He went to London with me, which is funny how it all worked out. Because him and my brother are super tight, and they worked together for years. And then our 4th partner, DJ Dante Deanna, he's the Cubs DJ, Dante the Don.
So you know it's going to be popping in that bitch.
So you know it's going to be popping. He's the reason why I actually know a ton about Cleveland. He's a great dude. But the 4 of us.
Unfortunately. It's Cleveland.
It's Cleveland. He knows it too.
I actually agree with. I like Joakim Noah. He used to shit on Cleveland pretty bad.
He used to shit on everything.
Yeah, because he's a shitty guy, I guess.
No, he's a good dude. He's just a pain in the ass. But by the way, though, if I'd love to see him finish up in a Bulls uniform, I wouldn't be mad at that.
You think they'll do it?
Well, Billy Donovan was.
Oh, that's
yeah, from Florida.
For sure.
For sure.
I totally forgot about that. For sure, that's gonna happen.
I'd love that.
Get Rose back too. Fuck it, let's get everybody.
That's exactly.
Bring
what
the
I
whole
said.
crew back,
dude. If we got D Rose, man, he should have never left.
Chicago fucked with him too, man, and now everyone sucks his dick. But
I'm gonna say this before I finish up the Uproar thing. The city of Chicago might have the worst run sports franchises in the fucking world.
I think
it's
that's
awful.
Yep.
But anyway, so the Uproar thing, it's gonna be crazy, but we're excited to open. It's the worst time to probably open up a fucking restaurant with all
take
this.
the risk.
We're jumping.
Risk it for the biscuit.
We're diving right in, but we've got on the 2nd floor. For whatever reason, the place is set up. It's got 2 fucking kitchens. Anyway, the 2nd floor kitchen, we're turning into like its own little mini, like sort of like dive bar, so to speak, because of the fact that in my experience working at a top 10 nightclub in the fucking country, people love being in the kitchen. So I'm like, let's turn this kitchen into keep it a kitchen, but we can still bring people back here and they're gonna fucking love it because for whatever reason, people love the exclusivity of drinking in a fucking kitchen,
which is weird. So take advantage if you know, right? That's a good idea. Man. I kind of want to see how that looks, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I can't wait to have you in. I can't. I mean, we're gonna do like friends and family and stuff like that. I just can't wait to get back into the game and have a place where, I can sit down and invite people to come and hang out.
Right.
Catch up.
You definitely crushed that whole scene for a hot minute, man. And you still got the connection shit.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny. I'm in sales now. I'm in ad tech. I work for, a technology ad tech company now. And I sell, basically anytime you open up like ESPN.com and you go and you watch a video and you get served that 15-second ad, I sell that. That's what I do. That's the long and short of it, right? But it's funny. I had no fucking idea about this industry, what it is, what it does, what I sell, but I networked because I worked in bars and restaurants. It's so funny to me how prepared I was working at a bar or restaurant. Cheesecake Factory. Working in a bar and restaurant prepares you for...
Wait, you did work at Cheesecake, didn't you?
I didn't. I never worked at Cheesecake, but I'm saying you did.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying is you probably wouldn't trade that experience in terms of real professional in the real world because working at bars and restaurants, you're customer facing.
Oh, yeah.
You're dealing with people, even mini problems. You're all the customer service stuff that you have working for like a big corporation. The skills that you learn working at a bar or a restaurant or whatever, those people, I'm telling you, man, they are more prepared for working a 9-to-5 than somebody who's got a college degree that never worked in the restaurant business. I'm convinced.
You're so used to issues, and you just like you said, you're used to just dealing with people, just the sheer number of people.
I mean, think about it, man. Right. Plus, Cheesecake Factory, you got 10,000 fucking items on that menu that you got to know about.
That menu was awful.
I wouldn't trade.
That menu was awful.
but that type of shit prepares you, man. And what we're seeing now with the state of Illinois and just the restaurant industry in general, and how it's taken such a. I mean, they basically cut the restaurant and bar industry at the knees with everything going on. It's like it's terrible, man. And I mean, I know for so many people that are in that industry, it's a stepping stone, right? When you're a kid, you're not like I want to grow up and be a bartender. Like I get it, and I want to grow up and be a server, a VIP host, or whatever. But the skills that you learn
should at least do it a little bit. It almost feel like everyone should, and even just like tipping and shit like that, you just got to do it.
Even if you're just a fucking kid and your uncle owns a restaurant and you're a busboy for a summer, like the skills that you learn working at a restaurant or a bar, I'm telling you, they're some of the best street skills that you can learn. I went to University of Iowa and I graduated and I got like a community comm studies degree or whatever. I don't fucking know. What I learned working at bars and shit at University of Iowa and then after that, and now being out of it completely, and I'm like, I'm going to go work a 9 to 5. I was more prepared than I ever thought that I would be, and I'm successful because of that experience. It's fucking crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I might be a better seller than some of these other guys that fucking, you know, wherever they graduated from, you know, Big Ten schools or Ivy League schools or this or that, or how hard they work. Like, it's skills you can't teach people that you learn in places like that.
Totally agree with you.
It's a whole nother world that if you have an opportunity to hire somebody from, or you look at a resume and you're like, you know, if I'm looking at your resume and I'm like, you know, I just go down, listen, and I see Cheesecake Factory. I'm like, this motherfucker knows hustle. This motherfucker knows blue collar. This motherfucker knows customer service. He's dealt with, like, dealing with tables and going to somebody and saying, I'm sorry, sir. Unfortunately, we're out of that today, but we do have this. Like even a little thing like that.
The steps of service.
Yeah. And the processes and the procedures and working for companies like that. What you learn and what you take away.
I learned a lot from it, too. I got some of my best friends from that industry.
Also that.
Great people. Mm-hmm. I mean, you meet some shitty ones, but you get some really, like, and the fact that you know these are the kind of people that you like,
right?
You're going to meet more of those kind of people.
Right. And you network, you meet people, and they're like, or you get regulars, or you're like, man,
right.
It's just, and that's how I got my job working at Underground. One of my regulars ended up being like, listen, man, you're a good dude. I could teach you my industry, but you're a good dude. Why don't you think about a better quality of life when you're not working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and dealing with a bunch of fucking Joakim Noahs and working 9 to 5, work 40 hours a week, make more money, work less hours. And I was like, sounds good.
Sounds like good.
And I had no fucking idea what I was doing, but I was prepared.
That's a hell of a somebody throw you through that. That's a nice little lifeline. That's dope.
But that's what the restaurant you meet a million fucking people, you know.
And a lot of times you're doing that as like that's not what you want to do, so you're doing it as you're doing something else. A lot of people.
It's always a stepping stone. It's always a stepping stone. You know, like like I said, nobody grows up and they're like, oh, I want to work at a bar or this or that.
Yeah,
but it's a great place.
Especially if you get the right spot. Like if you go to the right spot, you work at the right spot, you can still make a lot of money.
Dude, you could that
a
too.
ton.
I mean, listen, there's a lot of advantage to working at a bar and restaurant, and now and knowing that, right? But if you're out there and you're looking at resumes, especially now when you're seeing people and people are on that hustle, and they've worked in a restaurant or a bar or anywhere in that industry, they know, they get it. There's a light bulb that goes on for people like that. I'm telling you, the skills that you learn.
And that's definitely something that you definitely will do going forward.
I wouldn't. When I have kids,
you're going to force them to do something for at least a little bit of summer.
I would love it. I mean, I'm telling you, like even working at. I mean, I worked at when I graduated from. After I left Wheeling in the summers when I would come home, I worked with Swati at Arlington Racetrack, and I was a fucking busboy. And then I became a server, and then that's how it started. Mm. And then you know, if you're a people person and you love that type of shit, and then like
it's definitely good if you're a people person, it's like perfect to be a server.
It's perfect. But talk about sales, man. Every day, like your server every single day, you're learning sales. Hey, by the way, today we have a blue plate special. It's fucking East Coast cod with a side of this and this and that. You're pitching.
Right.
You're pitching every day.
Right.
Now it's a sale. Now whether somebody buys it or not, it doesn't matter because they're already there and you know that they're going to eat. But that's what you're doing. You're learning these skills, and I thank God that my 9 to 5 job I love. I'm not particularly super passionate about it like I am about the restaurant and bar industry, but the skills that you learn,
you were just ready.
Transition.
Ready for
you can get into fucking anything, man. You can get into anything, and like for you, and I met some of the greatest people I've ever met through it. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so, it's funny how things just sort of add up and stack up to get you on the path that you like. It's good for me. I'm opening up a bar, right? Something I've always wanted to do, especially with my brother, on my own terms. I've made a lot of people a lot of fucking money. A lot of people a lot of money. And I built a great network, and now I'm going to use that to my advantage and go out and make money. But it prepared me for the things, outside of my 9 to 5. And my 9 to 5, it's great. I'm not particularly passionate about it, but I'm good at it because of that.
You know what I learned from a big one was eye contact.
Yeah,
So I was like trying to learn.
it's good.
When an ex-girlfriend broke my heart, I was like, I just want to understand women, right? I'm
Fuck
like,
her, by the way.
Oh,
Fuck
yeah,
whoever
yeah.
she is, fuck her.
Yeah. The people know her name is Bridget. But anyways, but I was like, I vowed to never feel that way
Bridget,
again.
fuck off.
Yeah, right? So I vowed to never feel that way before or again. So I just did a lot of studying. You know, I was like, I got what happened? Because it came so blindsided. What the fuck? Like, I was so blindsided. I understand now what went wrong, and it was I blame myself for everything. But but one of the things I learned right in the beginning was, dude, if you can't look a girl in her eye, you don't even worry about getting girls. If you can't even do that, you're wasting your time. So
Confidence.
right, well, it takes confidence because I had to learn it because I wasn't doing it, right? And not even just with women, just like you shake a man, like you do a business deal. Could you imagine if a dude was and you're making a business deal with this guy and he won't look you in the eye? It'd be weird, right?
Not only that, handshakes fucking everything. Everything. I remember in junior high at London Middle School, I don't remember what class it was, but Mr. Klein, at the end of every class, he would say, work on your handshake. Like to everybody, when you left class, you'd shake his hand.
That's a hell of a move. I don't know. Yeah, that's dope. He taught that. He didn't have to teach that.
I mean, you can tell, talk about, other than eye contact, talk about something you can tell a lot by a person is their handshake. Also, by the way.
What if I shake your hand and I go like one of these, for a bit?
Yeah, so I know you're.
Tickle your palm.
A, you're probably a pervert, which means I like you. B, remember that game when you were a kid and you're like, that's the killer? Remember that? I can't remember what game where you,
that must have been like some white privilege shit. I never heard
white
that.
privilege shit. We grew up in the same neighborhood, motherfucker. It was not white privilege. But, yeah, I mean, when you think about handshake, also, by the way, the strongest handshake I ever got, which is ironic, and I'll tell you why. The strongest handshake of all time that I ever got was from Adrian Peterson. Running back now for, where's he at now? He's on the Lions. He's on the Lions.
Detroit.
But when he was obviously in his prime, that motherfucker almost destroyed my hand. I got a strong handshake. Almost destroyed my hand, which is funny because he's got so many fumble issues, but he's got the strongest handshake of anybody. There's nothing worse than...
I feel like he cleaned up the fumbling issues over the years. No?
Yeah.
I feel like he cleaned it up.
Yeah. I mean, what, he like beat his kid with like a twig or
I was bringing it up. I didn't want to be that guy.
Well, shit,
I was,
man,
I was literally, as soon as you said, that was my friend.
Let me ask you a question. If you grew up in a household where your mom didn't beat your ass,
am I who I am today?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
I've always said that.
Fuck no. Shout out to Randy, by the way. My mom, Randy, she's the best. Yeah.
She used to get in that ass good?
Well, I think she liked, it was if it wasn't a wooden spoon, it was something that was wooden. But yeah,
Oh, that was nice. I used to. You want to know what I got?
What did you get?
Well, belts were obvious. I'm talking about the black leather belts.
You know, she used to do the thing with the belt. She used to threaten the belt, but I never got the belt.
Oh no, I got them, and not even like the regular. I used to get
the buckle.
No, my grandmother wasn't that vicious. Come on now, the buckle.
Right.
Anyway, she would wrap up the buckle end and bop, 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 bop. But I've definitely gotten an extension cord when I really fucked up.
Extension cord.
Yeah, I got the extension.
Mm-hmm.
That one hurts real good, especially you get some good whip action. But I still love that woman.
Yeah, of course.
And I've actually, speaking of Jeremy, me and him got over this when that whole thing was going down. And I was like, I think there's levels of punishing your children, you know, that works.
Sure.
As a person who got his ass beat, I'm a great person. But then he made a great argument. He goes, okay, they used to beat slaves and shit. Like, is that okay? I'm like, great point. So,
wow.
I mean, when it comes to whipping, that's where it's Merp. It's Merp.
That motherfucker.
He went straight to the vicious.
I mean, listen, discipline, you got to be disciplined. Now, and I mean.
Best shit in the world. Got to be in the top 5 things to have.
1,000%. Now, if it gets physical, whatever, which is a terrible thing that I'm going to admit now, people might get pissed. But if I have, when I have kids, if I have a son, I'm going to get physical with him. I'm going to be like, yo, if you fuck up. Like for me, when I was saying that story before when I got, caught smoking weed and I got arrested, like if he gets caught, I'm going to fucking knock him on the back. What the fuck were you? But when I have a girl,
yeah, I'm
gonna let her do whatever the fuck she wants. I'm a sucker for that. But that's a terrible, double-edged sword. But I mean, I don't know how kids are raised these days. I'm sure that there's more coddled. Especially now with the fact that everybody.
Oh, for sure, more coddled.
But,
yeah.
Like
not in the black families though. We still whooping.
Good, and in white families too. In all families, if you don't know how tough you are until you get beat up a little bit.
You need it. That's
how
you learn, right?
That's how you learn. And which is funny. I mean, I think my mom, she was a sweetheart, and I got to a certain age where it was fine. I pretty much did what I wanted. But in the you got to that point where you never wanted your grandma or your mom or anybody. You never wanted them to be upset with you.
To this day, still feel that way.
I didn't want to this day. I don't want my mom to ever think or feel like she has to discipline me. Like, you hit me once, I get it, right? But I don't ever want to have to put you in that position again. You know what I mean? Like, and that, I think,
especially when you learn like some of those same mistakes. Like, I don't think I made a lot of the same mistakes.
right?
I made a lot of mistakes, but not the same ones. That was what, like, just, all right, I learned my lesson. So I never really got a whooping for the same thing, really.
Yeah.
But I always got a whooping when I did some really dumb shit for the first time. But like, I never did that shit again, though. You know what I'm saying?
And the other thing is, like, you knew when you were gonna get a whooping. Like, you would show up home and you look at you and you look her in the eye and be like, all right, you know, like, let's do this.
I used to get grounded.
I knew,
Wait.
I know I'm gonna get in trouble for this,
So this is
and
not
you
gonna
do it
happen.
anyway. But you take it. You take it.
I ain't never had that much man in me at that age.
No, I don't believe you.
No, at that age, no, I was. She would say I'd be on punishment where I could, like, summertime can't go outside.
Right.
So I had to stay in the
Remember
house.
that shit? Remember how fucking miserable? Because when we were kids, man, you left the house at 9 a.m. and you weren't home till it was dark.
Till it was time to come
or
home.
until
right?
you heard your mom's voice.
Right.
Dinner,
There's so-
Scott, or whatever the
Yeah,
fuck it
right,
was, right? I mean, like, but nowadays, like, if you grounded me from being able to go outside,
You'd be straight.
but nowadays, son, you're grounded. You'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go to my room and watch fucking
Play Xbox.
Pornhub and play Xbox. As long as there's Wi-Fi, I'm good.
Yeah, as long as there's Wi-Fi. Now that's
This
that's the
motherfucker-
one.
yeah, it's
Turn
like-
Wi-Fi off.
Yeah.
That's how you punish a motherfucker
These-
nowadays.
These motherfuckers got it easy, man.
Dude, and like, for instance, remembering phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about it with Steve. Like, do you remember how many numbers do you remember? Do you think over under 10? I'm going under for me.
like friends of mine or
No, just any numbers that you memorized.
it's probably right around 10. I bet. I remember, like, my home phone number when I was a kid.
Okay.
You always remember that shit. I remember Regina Gockberg's number from junior high. One of the first girls I was ever crazy about, 506-1802.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I remember that.
Remember Natasha
Natasha who?
Galleon? She thought you were the
I don't know,
nigga.
it
This
doesn't ring any
girl,
bells.
nigga, you look at you, Mr. Playboy.
Wish.
Nigga, this is definitely. Hey, she was bad as fuck back in the day.
From
And
Wheeling?
This might have been,
Before that?
yeah,
Or after that?
maybe like junior. It was back in when you looked like that Alex Suhai. No, not Alex Suhai. What's the dude from Little Giants, the quarterback? Suave. You ever seen Little Giants?
Yeah, of course,
Who
man.
was the quarterback of the other team, or like the pretty boy?
What his real name was?
Yeah, what his real
name
name
was Devin something.
Yeah, I always thought you was here, nigga.
You know why? Because we had that same haircut.
Yeah, the haircut.
We all had that fucking.
And all the
part
bitches
of
was
it.
like, "Whoa, dude." So you, first of all, you definitely messed with this chick, so because you'd probably devastate. She'd probably kill herself now if she hasn't already.
Wait, I don't know why it doesn't ring any fucking bells.
Definitely, you.
I know if I'm so much better with faces than names.
Y'all for
I
sure,
really
and
am.
all the names you've heard over your life. But anyways, she loved you, and she loved you, bro.
Damn.
She loved you. And you definitely
feel
had a
better
little.
than-
It might have been a little flash in the pants or whatever.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, listen. I mean,
She thought you was the most beautiful thing walking.
we had junior high and high school, man. I mean, we had some good. We grew up with some.
We did.
And then you know what else is really cool is that almost all of, especially like the females in our age group that we went to school with, they all age really well.
So well.
They all look great.
I
The
remember-
dudes, we look all right.
I
Some
feel
of us.
like I know
You
I leveled
did.
up. I know
You
you
leveled up.
leveled. Like I leveled up.
I mean,
We got some close friends
we-
that leveled the fuck down.
Yeah, we still got most of our hair. Thank God. I think that's the keeper. But yeah, I mean,
say just cut it off now. And I'm not. I don't think I'm that. Yeah, you do have gray hair. I'm getting close. I'm gonna cut it off.
It's starting to get. I mean, listen, we're getting old, man. We're talking about losing our fucking hair. We can't giving up drinking. I mean, it's fucking crazy, man. You know what else that it's funny that I also tell people, especially like when I talk about getting older. You know what they never taught us playing sports growing up that I wish that we would have done more?
Ice. Was it ice the knees?
Stretching,
Oh, same shit. Yep. Oh.
mobility, man, flexibility.
Hey, you see that thing?
Yo, that
You ever been on one?
no.
Do it right now. Do it right now.
I heard that's. I got just served an ad on fucking Instagram today. I heard it's like the best thing ever.
Life changing. One, I don't feel up until I hit that thing. The first few times, you're going to feel it. It's
Yeah,
like,
right.
whoa. Like, you're going to crack some shit. You know what?
Rolling, dude, like yoga, fucking stretching, all this shit. Like growing up, they were like, lift weights. And then now you're 35, 36, and you're like, dude, I got bad knees. I got bad hips. I mean,
right,
I haven't played pickup basketball in 3 years. I still play softball, but like I don't even know how my knees would feel after that.
Well, let me tell you this. I had also not played in a long time, and I was like, you know what? Let me go fill the ball up with some air, and I went and shot some baskets by myself.
Yeah, right.
And during it, I was like, first of all, you can tell.
Does Max still ball at all?
No one balls. Like I personally just play 2K now. That's how I get my fix.
Yo, I gave up video games before I turned 30, and I haven't picked up like.
That's what happens. Once you stop, you stop. But
I had to.
It was too much.
Let me tell you something. In college, I joined a frat. I was in a frat for like a year or whatever, and I lived in the frat house. All I cared about was being the best Halo player. That's all I gave a fuck about.
I would have never guessed that.
I would have, dude. I got to the point where I didn't even fire a fucking gun. It was like, I'm a sticky grenade the fuck out of you. I'm gonna get 50. I'm a sticky grenade you.
So you probably, if you had been still doing it, you'd probably be like really rich off that now.
That's another fucking crazy thing to me is that that motherfucker Ninja makes like $3 million a year playing Fortnite. Or whatever.
I think it's way more than that. I think he's making way more than that.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, it was that, and then it was like Madden, NCAA, FIFA was always a fun game to play.
Never got into 2K, right? Or like any of the like
of course.
live.
Yeah, but I never put a headset on it. None of that. I never got into. I was before all of that. But yeah, I haven't played video games since, which is funny. Because I know if I picked it up now, like it'd be game over. Like there are games where I'll get like I'll watch a commercial, I'll get like served an ad for whatever. Like for example, like first person shooter Call of Duty shit. I'm like, this would ruin my life.
It is vicious now. I don't even play those, but it's so it's too good.
Yeah.
In the basketball, I'm telling you, you feel like you're in the league.
I bet.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you got numbers and shit.
You know what? The first time I saw that, right when the pandemic started, and they were like
the players
recording the players play, and I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, that's dope.
So when I do play, because listen, if I'm going to go home at the end of the night and play a couple hours anyway, why not stream it?
Yeah.
And I have a platform now, and maybe get some people come over. So I'm like I could potentially turn a lot of the guys who were doing what I do with social media commentary, they do that as like a side hustle. And you're going to play it anyway.
Yeah, right.
So I got the whole setup streamed. Yeah, I got the 4K. You can see my beautiful mug. You know what I'm saying?
That, man. See, that's what I'm saying. Man.
You guys.
I wouldn't have a girlfriend.
You wouldn't have enough time. No, you can still have a girlfriend.
I would, dude. I'm telling you, man.
Oh, unless you were bad. I can say no, motherfucker. Like, all right.
I would have to like put myself on a schedule where like, all right, Thursday night, 5 hours. That's it. And then I have to like. I mean, I wouldn't even.
I would have never pegged you for I would have figured like a baseball, like MLB or something. I would never pegged you for a Halo.
Hey, I'm telling you, man.
Wow.
It was just what everybody was playing at the time, and it was like a new first person shooter thing, and I'm like, I got to be the best at this. So that's all I cared about. I almost flunked out of school because of it. And then
you were serious.
All I did was fucking.
Wait, did you drink Mountain Dew?
No.
He gained a few pounds.
All I did was fucking smoke weed, chase skirt, and play fucking Halo. For my sophomore year of college.
I bet you that was a great year, wasn't it?
Oh, one of the best years of my life.
It's got to be chase tail and play video games and drink and smoke.
Wait, listen, man, when you're 18 to 22, like when you're even in high school and college, like when people say those are the best years of your life, it's usually the people that like that was when they hit their prime. But you don't worry about shit.
To me, 30 has been the best by far.
Well, I love being in my 30s because in your 30s you think like you do in your 20s. The only difference is you got a pocket full of money. So
right.
You can do all the things you wanted to do,
and you can do them smarter because now you're more aware of the potentials of other shit. You know,
I've loved being in my fucking 30s so far, like 36.
And supposedly 40s is if you got that mindset, you're just gonna be even doper,
right? Because hopefully you have even more money
and more experience and shit, right?
Right. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's crazy to see some successful people and some people just are late bloomers. Some people.
And I'm definitely one of those. I'm a late bloomer. I literally went to bed prom night.
Sometimes you gotta.
Oh, I wanted to say that's a true statement. I literally pissed on myself. I was a bedwetter the night I beat you for prom.
It makes me feel better.
Okay, yeah, it does. I wanted to get this out because this is the longest podcast we've had too. By the way,
my bad.
No, you kidding me? No, hell, I told you. Sometimes the hardest part is to stop it. Yeah, right. But I know. But anyways, I did want to say that your mom was a savage the night that you threw a party like after prom. You had a big fucking party the next week or something.
Right.
Remember that big ass party? It was
I had a huge party.
that shit was epic too. It was fun as hell. Anyways,
It was a graduation party, I think.
yeah, but it was like late night. We was allowed to have a little cocktail. That shit was popping. Everyone, if you knew somebody, you was in that bitch.
Man.
So I'm like, all right. So I'm
It was
like,
a good house to throw a party at.
oh, it was perfect. It was close.
Yeah, it was easy.
So I remember I'm like, I'm about to pop out, and me, I'm a clown, so I rock in the crowd, right, like an idiot. So I'm walking in, and I'll never forget this to the day I die. Your mom looks at me and goes, "There's the kid who stole my son's crowd."
Suburb white mom, typical.
I'm like,
type
Mrs.
shit.
Horwitch, that's fucked
That's
up.
funny.
She's like, "No, I'm just fucking with you."
So that's where I get my competitive, is from, which I'm sure most people do is from their parents. My mom,
Yeah, she
wanted that fucking crowd.
I think
Me,
she
I didn't
did.
give a fuck. I was just like, cool, I'm on court. By the way, who else was on prom court with? I'm trying to think. I don't even know who else was on it with us.
So I actually remember. So it was Alfonso, big Alfonso.
Yeah.
And he was gay, and I felt like everyone loved him.
Yeah.
Everyone loved him.
I feel like I recently saw something where
And he like lost a lot of weight too.
Yeah, he had a glow up.
Yeah,
It's great.
Yeah, he again another level up.
Yeah, right.
He leveled up hard. So and then there was one other dude. It was me, you.
Was Luis Diaz on one of ours? Remember Luis?
No, because he won homecoming.
Oh, that's right. Another good dude.
Because he was a fucking beast. Everyone loved too. I think there was one more guy. But I remember some of the girls. I remember Tiffany Newburn, who won. Still don't really know how she won. I don't think she won because of me. I think they might have been, let's keep the blacks together. That's how I felt.
So. Dude,
Who the fuck knew her?
Dude,
like,
was,
who knew? Listen, I love you, Tiffany, and you were beautiful as shit. I'm like,
smoke.
but like, I could see why I
Tiffany
won. I
Newburn
fucked with
was
every shit. She
fire.
was hot as ball, still beautiful.
Yeah, she still looks
But
great.
it made sense. I was a little worried because on the fucking ballot they said Kristen Campbell. I'm like, no one called. No, does people even know that's my name?
Yeah.
What was I all through high school?
LC.
I'm like, oh, you guys fucked me. That's what I'm thinking.
When I see, if I like
Everybody from
I'd
back
be
then
like
does.
LC.
Everybody, yeah, that's just the way it is, and I've accepted it. I've accepted it. But I remember thinking, like, did you motherfucker try to fuck me? But I thought that. I'm like, damn, Scotty's that nigga. I'm thinking Scotty's that nigga.
Man.
Now you're being humble, and I get it. That's the humble.
You know what's funny? Like I played sports. I was in that fucking singing. I was in New Dawns. I did all that shit, and I'm really glad that my mom pushed me to do that because getting involved.
Oh yeah,
was like
there
a
must
big
have been
thing.
tons of tail in New Dawns.
I did it. I'm gonna tell you right now.
I forgot you did this.
I did it because
Explain to what New Dawns is.
all right. So New Dawns is I don't even know what they call it at other schools. It's show choir. It's where like you sing and you dance and you get into a suit and
It's just funny.
it's just so stupid. I joined it for a girl. I joined it for Carly Birnbaum.
Beautiful woman.
Oh,
Well, she's in New York right now, right?
she's in New York. She just got engaged. Well, she looks the same. She hasn't aged. I joined it for chick. That's what you do, man. When you're young, you do.
Did you cheerlead?
What do you mean? What do you mean? I played football, baseball, basketball.
Did you ever maybe there was the other? I'm using New Dawns, nigga. That's only a hop, skip, and a jump away.
No, it's not. It's closer than that, man.
But I've always heard that those guys get tail though.
Dude, like male cheerleader.
Yeah, just get all of the beautiful tail.
Dude, I had the guys that were like on. I can't remember what it was fucking called at Iowa, and a couple of those guys that were like cheerleaders or whatever. Yeah, they pulled fucking massive tail. That's why. See, looking back now, you're like those motherfuckers.
Yeah,
man. Those guys
brutal.
had an angle. What a great angle.
Right, because one, they're comfortable around you. One, they're just comfortable, and that's like the main thing that women's got to be comfortable around you. And then two, they just got used to dealing with way more hot women, which is the key.
Confidence.
And what I always say to kind of get off the subject, and we are getting a little late. I think when you really, because I think I'm finally starting to understand. 36 years, I think I'm like, okay, I'm the closest that I've ever been, probably more than most people. I feel like I coach people all the time. I almost treat, when it comes to how I used to look at a hot girl and be like, ooh, I got to treat them differently, right? Because they're hot.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have learned is you just got to treat them as women, not as based because you're hot.
Mm-hmm.
And which is funny because most men don't do that. Most men are going to say, oh, shit, she's fucking hot, right?
They don't want that.
They don't want that.
No.
Excuse me. They don't want that. And it's like, oh, okay.
Right.
So because, and at the end of the day, like, what other than your looks, what do I know? What if this girl is just the most baller, nicest woman because you're beautiful, but you're the worst piece of shit, and all of a sudden you get credit just because of that? I don't feel like personally looks, as much as my girl's got to be bad, obviously, but I'm telling you, I would much rather deal with a 5, and not even for me, just as a person, a 5 who's awesome than a 10 who's the worst piece of shit ever.
And you know what that is? That's experience and that's wisdom. And women are smarter than men in that regard. And that
in most regards, if you ask me.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that comes back to that point I was making earlier about, you see these gorgeous women with these fucking dudes. Like, how the fuck did they do it? Confidence.
He understands something. How you make them feel.
How you make them feel. Women love, you when you're younger, you're like, I want to look good and I want to impress this girl. They don't give a fuck.
I'm not about that.
At the end of the day, especially as you get older, they don't give a fuck about anything.
I won't even say the words I'm trying to I won't even say that. I literally didn't even just say it in the end.
Yeah.
This is literally my mindset. Like, who the fuck am I? But it's like, I think you should probably be trying to impress me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I really believe that in my heart. And here's the reason why I feel confident in speaking so confidently and so out there. And I know people are going to see this because I literally work hard at being the best Chris Campbell. And I don't do it to say I'm better than Scotty or better than this. I want to be. So some people called me conceited back in the day. And it's like, conceited? That would mean that I think that I'm better than you. I don't. I just think that I'm dope.
Right.
And I believe that in my heart. I do believe I'm dope, one, because I work at it, and I'm try.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to fight my own demons and fears and all. And I take risk, very scary risk. And I've done incredible things, at least in my eyes. So it's like.
That's all that matters, too.
Right? So it's like, what can someone tell me when I know half the people, and they should, aren't trying nearly as hard to improve themselves?
Yeah. People talk about when they meet their significant other or whatever, they make them better, and I think that's the biggest thing is you have to be the best version of you. But then when you meet somebody and you're like, holy fuck, like
even make each other better.
Lindsay, the woman I'm with now she's absolutely incredible.
She has to be like closest to perfect to calm your ass down. She's got for the people.
Yeah, the answer is yes. She is pretty close to fucking.
Most
perfect.
of the people who listen to this, they listen. They don't really hear. They're not gonna watch it. I'm still growing the watching part. But I'm telling y'all, looking at the motherfucker, he's a good looking guy. You guys, I'm telling you,
I love you.
He's
man.
a good
Thank
looking
you.
guy though. He pulls off like the 5 o'clock shadow guy. Like you pull that off perfect. Do you get it cut to that? And do you let it grow on purpose?
Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you used a razor to your face?
Yesterday.
Oh, I haven't used it in years. I just used the fucking thing, man.
What thing? Like the buzzers?
Just the guards, yeah. I can't do.
You can tell. I do pencil though. I'm in that motherfucker.
Yeah, you got that mustache.
I got. What is it? Black people, right?
Yo,
we got the line.
You got that nice sculpt on that top lip,
I
man.
did.
You got that nice sculpt.
Hey, I got that lined up.
Yeah.
All right, man. We gonna get out of here, man. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Shout
It's
out
been a
the
pleasure.
restaurant one more time.
Uproar. It's called Uproar. It's going to be opening mid-October, like October 15th, in the heart of Old Town on Wells Street. Love to have anybody in. Bring your friends.
Well,
bring
I'm
your
trying to
family.
come, so if I'm invited, I'm coming.
You're invited.
All right, and as always, CARESNONE, nigga.